Chapter 804. On the day of the Yuanying ceremony, Wang Daoyuan wore the long robe of the Wang family's grand elder, while Zhou Luan wore the phoenix coronet and robe of the Zhou kingdom's princess. The two of them sat at the head of the auditorium. The guests outside continuously entered the auditorium and bowed to the two of them. Those who could enter the hall were at least in the Golden Core realm. Most of the factions with Golden Core realm cultivators had sent people. Even the Song kingdom had sent their crown prince to congratulate them. Only the sixth prince was in an awkward position. The Savage Sun Palace and the Wang family were mortal enemies. The Savage Sun Palace was an important bargaining chip for the sixth prince to fight for power with the Myriad Spirit sect. If he kept it, he was afraid that Wang Daoyuan would deal with him. If he abandoned it, he was afraid that he would become a puppet of the Myriad Spirit sect. In this dilemma, he could only pretend that he didn't see anything. Wang Daoyuan was a Yuanying cultivator and couldn't be bothered with them. The sixth prince's small imperial court was sandwiched between the Zhao and Song kingdom. The Song kingdom wouldn't dare to support the sixth prince in the future. As long as the Zhao family could get over this, it was only a matter of time before they destroyed the sixth prince. The half-demon tribes that had just submitted to the Qingli commandery also sent Golden Core cultivators. In order to win over the half-demons, the Wang family arranged for them to sit in the hall. Zhao Jinghua and Crown Prince Zhao Qingshen from the Zhao kingdom came together. Cultivators from other small kingdoms also arrived. The Grand Emperor of the Zhou kingdom, Daoist Fengyi, also came to the Yuchuan Peak with Daoist Mo Lin, the Grand Emperor of the Qin kingdom. Both of them were 200 to 300 years old, but they had enough divine beast bloodlines and were far from dying. Now that their spirit chi was recovering, they still had a chance to break through to the Yuanying realm. This time, they were able to listen to the Yuanying cultivators preaching and gain some experience. Daoist Fengyi was also more casual. After arriving at the hall, he smiled and said, "The younger generation will surpass us in time. My niece and niece-in-law have both broken through to the Yuanying realm." Daoist Fengyi and Daoist Mo Lin were senior, so Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan also stood up and bowed. Zhou's cultivation speed wasn't slow and he had reached the late-stage Golden Core realm. This time he was more well-behaved. He bowed and said, "Greetings to aunt and uncle." Wang Daoyuan had a kind smile on his face as he said, "Nephew, you may dispense with the formalities." Zhou Jingyuan didn't say anything. Wang Mingchen walked over and led eldest cousin to his seat. Next were the cultivators from the four top forces. The Wind Snow Deity Palace had sent Daoist Flying Snow, who was about to take over the position of Palace Master. Only Xian Jiuxiao from the Tianji sect came alone. His cultivation level was also in the late Golden Core stage. Kuei Jian came from the Tai Sword sect. Swordless Spiritual Master had already become the sect master of the Tai Sword sect. The West Ocean was not peaceful, and there were no Yuanying cultivators guarding it. The three sects still had to guard the West Sea, so their experts didn't dare to leave easily. On the other hand, the Divine Weapon Pavilion did not treat Wang Daoyuan as an outsider at all. The sect master brought several peak Jindan stage cultivators with him. In addition, Spiritual Master Lei Yan was also here. It was completely possible to hold a meeting of the upper echelons of the Divine Weapon Pavilion. The southern wasteland had been cleaned up a few times when they were fighting the devil race. Now no one dared to cause trouble, so the entire southern wasteland was very peaceful. It wasn't a problem to pick out a few cultivators to listen to the Yuanying cultivators preaching. Everyone was present and the gifts they gave were not bad. However, none of them caught Wang Daoyuan's eye. None of the sects had rank 5 spiritual items. Other than their core inheritances, there was nothing else that could move the Yuanying cultivators. After that, Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan started preaching to the guests. Even Daoist Lei Yan answered the questions of the cultivators. This preaching lasted for 3 months. After the preaching ended, the cultivators left one after another. Only the 4 top forces, Zhou, Qin and Zhao were left. The demon race was rampant. Next, they would definitely discuss how to deal with the demon race. The 4 top forces, Zhou and Qin, were all influential forces in Beiyuan. Naturally, they stayed to discuss important matters. On the other hand, Zhao Jinghua and Zhao Qingshen continued to stay, which confused Wang Daoyuan. After the others left, Wang Daoyuan asked, "Daoyu Zhao, Your Highness Crown Prince, what's the matter?" Zhao Jinghua stood up and cupped his hands. "Senior is already a Yuanying cultivator. Back then you made a great contribution to quelling the devil race. Now he had killed the level 5 black ice tortoise in the north of the mountain. My Zhao clan no longer dares to be the sect master of Qingli County. I am under the orders of Emperor Zhao to ask County King Qingli to become the emperor." Hearing this, everyone was a little stunned. Although with Wang Daoyuan and his wife's strength, the Zhao clan couldn't command Qingli County. However, the Zhao clan's boldness was not weak to just give up a county's territory. Although the Wang clan's inheritances were not fully utilized, their foundation was stronger than the Zhao clan's. In addition, with Wang Daoyuan's help, the Zhao clan's strength would not be comparable to the Wang clan's in the future. Although the Wang clan was nominally a vassal of the Zhao clan, in reality, the Zhao clan could no longer command the Wang clan. It made no difference to the Wang clan whether they called themselves king or emperor. However, since the Zhao clan took the initiative to ask, the Wang clan could not refuse. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Then many thanks for Emperor Zhao's good intentions. This matter will be handled by Mingchen. He naturally would not call himself emperor. These small matters would be left to the county king's manor. Wang Mingchen stood up and cupped his hands. Yes, father. Finished speaking, he left the hall with Zhao Jinghua and Zhao Qingxian. Taoist Master Feng Yi smiled. Emperor Zhao is worthy of being the descendant of Emperor Zhao. This boldness does not lose to the previous emperor of Zhao. In the past, Emperor Zhao dared to challenge this old man. His son also decisively gave up a county. For Zhao to have such an emperor, it seems the country still has a long way to go. The others deeply agreed. Emperor Zhao's boldness was not ordinary. Those who remained were all major powers. It was time to talk about resisting the demon beast. Xian Jiuxiao left his seat and cupped his hands to everyone. Seniors, this junior is here on my father's orders to ask for help. Since the last hidden dragon river's spiritual energy tide, the demon beasts in the West Sea have become active. A small number of Tier 4 high-grade demon beasts have come ashore and attacked our archaic mystery sect's property. These years the attacks have become more frequent. Many demon beasts with Tier 4 peak cultivation have appeared. Our archaic mystery sect's cultivators are exhausted. In recent years, Tier 4 demon beasts have come ashore to attack almost every day. If not for the array, our archaic mystery sect would not have been able to hold on. If Tier 5 demon beasts appear, our archaic mystery sect will be destroyed overnight. Hearing this, Taoist Master Lei Yen nodded. I also heard about the archaic mystery sect. But I did not expect the demon beast to be so rampant. You can rest assured. Now that Daoyuan has returned, there will be no problem guarding the sky-beheading mountain range in Wanchuanha. Soon I will bring the Linglong Pagoda to the West Sea. With me and ancestor Linglong, even if Tier 5 demon beasts appear, we will not be helpless. Xian Jiuxiao was overjoyed. With Taoist Master Lei Yan's promise, the West Sea would have 2 powerful Yuanying experts overseeing it. There was nothing to be afraid of. Wang Daoyuan also said, I still have to guard the sky-beheading mountain range and guard against the old turtle hiding in the outer sea. I cannot go to the West Sea for now. However, I have a Tier 5 high-grade flying ship. If the West Sea is in danger, send me a message at any time. I only need 3 to 5 days to reach the West Sea. With Wang Daoyuan's promise, Xian Jiuxiao was even more confident. At this moment, Kuei Jian left his seat and cupped his hands. Senior, disciple has been entrusted by Senior to come and ask Senior to nurture the Tai Yi God Sword to Tier 5. If Tier 5 demon beasts appear in the West Sea, the Tier 5 Tai Yi God Sword will be of great use. My Tai Yi Sword sect is willing to exchange sword cultivation techniques and spells for Senior's help. Although he did not fancy ordinary spiritual items, the sword cultivation legacy was still not bad. The Wang clan's sword cultivation legacy was still too weak. Clansmen with sword cultivation talent might not be suitable to cultivate the Guiyuan Sword Immortal's legacy. If he could obtain some sword cultivation legacy from the Tai Yi Sword sect, it would be very valuable. Wang Daoyuan smiled. Senior brother Kuei Jian, there is no need to be so polite. You and I can address each other as equals. I have the Tai Yi Golden Flames, nurturing a Tai Yi God Sword will not take much effort. Since that is the case, many thanks junior brother. After Martial Uncle Lei Yen oversees the West Sea, I will send the Tai Yi God Sword and Sword Cultivation Legacy over. Chapter 805. After Wang Daoyuan and Kuei Jian finished their discussion, Lei Yen continued, the demons in the north of the mountain have been suppressed, and the half-demons have submitted, so there's no need to worry for now. There's also an old turtle in the outer sea that could cross the sky-beheading mountain range at any time. However, with Daoyuan here, there's no need to worry. In ancient times, there was a rumor that the depths of the West Sea was the end of the world. Even the ancient powerhouses were unwilling to go in, so it's hard to say how many hidden demons there are. We have to be fully prepared, lest too many demonic beasts suddenly appear and catch us off guard. The 7 factions present were the strongest in the cultivation world of the North Abyssal Realm. It's our responsibility to protect Beiyuan. Each of us will send some people to help the Archaic Mysteries sect guard the West Sea. Since it was proposed by his master Wang Daoyuan as his disciple, naturally had to help out. I've subdued a mid-grade level 5 mysterious ice turtle so I can guard the West Sea. With the addition of another nascent soul realm cultivator, everyone was more confident. Hearing this, Zhou Country's retired emperor smiled. Zhou Country is deep in the center of human territory and is protected by various factions. During the last tide of the Hidden Dragon River, it was thanks to the help of various factions that we were able to protect our foundation. When it comes to the survival of the human race, Zhou Country naturally has to take action. I'll bring 5 peak Oris core stage cultivators of the Zhou family and their inherited magic artifacts to guard the West Sea. Qin Country, Wind Snow Deity Palace, and Tai Sword Sect also expressed that they would send half-step Yuanying experts to guard the West Sea with their inherited magic artifacts. Lei Yen Jinren nodded with satisfaction. The level 5 spiritual energy is about to appear, and it's the most intense time for the human race and the demon race. Everyone do your best to guard the West Sea. When the level 5 spiritual vein appears, our cultivation speed will be faster, and it'll be easy for us to gain an overall advantage. As long as we survive this period, the demon race won't be worth mentioning in the future. Furthermore, the current situation is much stronger than when we were fighting against the demon race. At least on the surface, our Yuanying fighting force still has the absolute advantage. After discussing a few more details, the crowd gradually dispersed. After everyone left, Daoist Thunderflame also prepared to leave. Daoyuan, I'll leave the heaven/mountain range to you. You've always been reliable and your strength is far above mine, so I have nothing to worry about. I just want to remind you to be careful. Wang Daoyuan took out the black ice tortoise from the spirit pearl space and had Linglong put it into the tower. Don't worry, master. I've fought many Yuanying cultivators in the Sea of 7 Stars. Dealing with a mid-tier 5th-ranked demonic beast shouldn't be too much of a problem. Daoist Thunderflame took the Twinkle Gem Pagoda and rode the flying warship towards the west. Wang Mingchen, Wang Mingshan, and Wang Daochang discussed with the Zhao family about the matter of becoming emperor. Neither side had any objections to the founding of the country. The territory had long been clearly demarcated, and the framework of the prince's mansion had long been set up during the time of the governor's mansion. After proclaiming himself as an emperor, he could no longer use Qingli County as his title. He had to find a more impressive title. Over 10,000 years ago, Qingli County didn't have an independent country, so there was no way to talk about inheriting the title of an ancient country. Zhao Jingguo was in charge of the inheritance and etiquette of the Zhao family, so he was naturally proficient in this aspect. Although Qingli County doesn't have an ancient country, there is one north of Mount Huiyan. Over 10,000 years ago, when Yuanying cultivators could still be produced, most of the territory in Shanbei belonged to the human race, and the Zhou country was only divided into a few small countries in Shanbei. Later on, the human race declined and the demon race rose. The small countries in Shanbei couldn't hold on any longer, and their cultivators and ordinary people migrated to Shanbei. Now that most of the powers in Shanbei have submitted to Qingli County, it's not impossible to use the name of Shanbei Ancient Country as the title. These few countries are Yan, Ji, Xing, Zhou and Qi. Which one does your highness think is more suitable? Wang Mingchen thought for a moment and answered, I've read all kinds of books and I've also heard of the Yan country. This is the strongest of the small countries in Shanbei. Moreover, after the Yan country fell, the descendants of the royal family migrated to Shanbei. Many of the Yan country's royal family members changed their surname to Wang. Most of the surname Wang and Zhao are descendants of the Yan country. Our Jade Spring Wang family's foundation is shallow, and we can't trace back to our ancestors from 10,000 years ago. Although we can't confirm that they are descendants of the Yan country, the possibility is very high. I've decided to use the Yan country as the title. Zhao Jingguo cupped his hands. In that case, we'll do as your highness says. When I return, I'll report this to his majesty. Then he left with Zhao Qingxian. Wang Mingshan asked, where will we put the capital? In the future we'll expand to the east and north. If we put the capital in Wanchuan Market, it won't be convenient. Once the demon beasts in Wanchuan River move, Wanchuan Market will have to activate the defensive array, and there's no guarantee of safety. Wang Mingchen answered, naturally we should put it in Qingli Market. In the future we'll swallow the entire Shanbei region, and it's too remote to put the capital in Wanchuan Market. Father said that whether it's Qingli County or the future Yan country, The most important thing to rely on is our Wang family. Qingli Market is behind our Wang family's core territory, and it's easier to mobilize power. To the east is Oasis and Fallen Dragon Ridge, and it'll be convenient to develop the sky-beheading mountain range. It's not far from Shanbei, and it'll be more convenient to control Shanbei. Wanchuan Market is on the Wanchuan River, and once the demon beasts move, it'll be immediately threatened. Moreover, if we set the capital in Wanchuan Market, it means that we intend to expand along the Wanchuan River. I'm afraid that the Zhao Emperor won't be able to sleep well. The only drawback is that the grade of the spirit veins is too low. However, the spirit energy will slowly recover in the future, and the grade of the spirit veins will also increase. Wang Daochang smiled. Mingchen's words are reasonable. Then we'll prepare to build the new capital in Qingli Market. These years, the demon beasts are causing trouble and business is not good, but we've stored a lot of materials. It's more than enough to build the new capital. After deciding on the title and capital, they began to work on the various ceremonies. Zhao country had a headache, and the ceremony was not easy to decide. The two countries were on equal footing, and it was not appropriate to use the ceremony of the emperor rewarding his subjects. But without the ceremony, the founding of Yan country and Zhao country had nothing to do with each other. After a long discussion, they finally decided that Zhao country would gift the land, crown, and robes. As for the ceremony of proclamation, the Wang family would organize it themselves, and Zhao country would just show up. As a rising power, the Wang family was very efficient. In just a year's time, he had built a 50-square-kilometer city in the old square of Clear Glass City. The old square was north of Qingxi River, east of Qingli River, which was also the traditional sphere of influence of the Wang family. After the capital was built, it was time to proclaim the country as the emperor. The Zhao emperor sent Zhao Jinghua and Zhao Qingxian to deliver the emperor's crown and dragon robes. Zhao Qingxian also announced that Zhao country would gift Qingli County, Jinyan City, and Shanbei's land to Yan country. Then, in front of the imperial ancestral temple in the capital, they held the proclamation ceremony. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan, as the retired emperor and empress dowager, naturally had to participate in the ceremony. Wang Mingchen put on the dragon robes and Wang Daoyuan personally put on the emperor's crown for him, encouraging him, receiving the country's filth is to be the ruler of the country, receiving the country's misfortune is to be the king of the world. Since you are the emperor, you have to bear the heavy burden of the country and seek benefits for the people. Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and said, I will follow father's teachings. Next, Wang Jian, who was the oldest in the Wang family, personally read the funeral oration. He told the ancestors that the future generations would proclaim themselves as the emperor, and prayed for the ancestors' blessings. After the ancestor worship, Wang Mingchen led everyone to the Huangji Hall in the center of the imperial palace, ascended the dragon throne, and accepted everyone's worship. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan didn't join in the fun, and left the imperial palace, returning to Yuchuan Peak. Wang Daoyuan didn't take the proclamation seriously, but Zhou Wan was full of joy. Mingchen looks better in the dragon robes than you. You don't look proper all day, you don't look like a ruler. He had an indifferent look. Isn't it just being the Empress Dowager? You want to praise your son but you talk about me as if I'm worthless. I don't look proper all day and you're still plotting against me? Chapter 806. Wang Daoyuan didn't care about these trivial matters in the first place. Now he had already handed over his authority. Wang Mingchen had been managing the country for decades without any problems. There was no need for him to care about the future of the Yan kingdom. He just needed to focus on being the stabilizing force. In the following days, Wang Daoyuan continued to cultivate in the Jade Spring Peak. Ever since he took down the Black Ice Tortoise, the demons in the north of the mountain didn't dare to stay under his nose and fled north. Even Zhong Xinyang and the others who were deep in the north of the mountain didn't see any demon beasts. There were no rank 5 demon beasts in the sky/mountain range. Demons of rank 4 and below only dared to cause trouble. Now they didn't even dare to show their faces. In the past, the demon beasts in the Wanchuan River were the most active. Ever since Wang Daoyuan left the sword puppet in the Wanchuan market. If any demon beast dared to cause trouble, it would be struck by lightning. The demon beasts in the 3 directions were intimidated and became much more obedient. The situation in the Yan kingdom was much better now. When the demon beasts were causing trouble, a large number of itinerant cultivators who made a living in the sky/mountain range escaped. Now that the situation had improved, they returned again. The business in the various markets had improved significantly. The Fallen Dragon Ridge didn't suffer much from this demon beast rampage. It was only a rank 2 superior spirit vein. Most of the demon beasts weren't interested in it. In addition, there was a rank 3 superior spirit beast, the Thunder Ape. There wasn't much impact. After cultivating in the Jade Spring Peak for 2 years, there were no more demon beasts harassing the Yen Kingdom. There was also news from the West Sea that there were 3 Yuanying forces in charge. Wang Daoyuan repaired the Tai Divine Sword. Perfected Cloud Sword had a rank 5 legendary magic artifact and could exert the strength of an early-stage Yuanying force for a short period of time. With so many experts in charge, many demon beasts in the West Sea were killed and were no longer as rampant. At this time, the demon beasts in the East Sea were making a big move. Wang Daoyuan received a message from Linhai Prefecture that a large number of demon beasts had gathered 1,000 miles east of the mouth of the Wanchuan River. Before Wang Daoyuan returned to Beiyuan, perfected Lei Yan was in charge here. Both sides of the Wanchuan River had people specially assigned to provide information. Now that Adept Lei Yan had gone to the West Sea, this information was naturally in the hands of Wang Daoyuan. There were many islands of different sizes in the sea to the east of the Thousand Rivers estuary. However, most of these islands were sandbars formed by the sediment of the Wanchuan River. Most of the islands did not have spirit veins. Now, most of the rogue cultivators in the Linhai state had fled to the west of the sky/mountain range. There were no demonic beasts in the East Sea that cared about anything. When this group of demonic beasts gathered, their only goal was to break into the Wanchuan River. He had been researching the combination of the water dragon art and divine ability for a few years, but he had never had the chance to put it into practice. This group of rank 4 demonic beasts delivered themselves to his doorstep, just in time for him to practice. After saying goodbye to Zhou Wan, he left the underground cave. He boarded the flying boat and flew toward the Wanchuan River. The Wanchuan River was now peaceful. There were no traces of demonic beasts. In the 10,000 Rivers Valley, when they returned from the Sea of 7 Stars, demonic beasts would appear from time to time on the cliffs on both sides of the valley. But now not even a shadow of a ghost could be seen. They passed through the valley and arrived at Linhai Prefecture. Gu Qingfeng was already waiting at the exit of the valley. He should be around 900 years old, and his cultivation had reached the peak of Golden Core. He was quite talented. If the main spirit vein of the Sky Chop mountain range recovered to rank 5, he still had hope of forming his nascent soul. He cupped his hands toward Wang Daoyuan and said, "Greetings, senior." Wang Daoyuan stopped the flying boat. "Gu Daoyu, you don't have to be so polite. We used to fight side by side in the past so we can talk as equals. Didn't the Gu clan move to Linchuan Prefecture? Why is Daoyu still here?" Gu Qingfeng sighed. Linhai Prefecture is the foundation of the Gu clan's more than 10 generations of hard work. I really can't bear to give it up like this. I've lived for more than 900 years and I've lived long enough to guard this family business. We need to monitor the demonic beasts in Linhai Prefecture, and we can't do it without a golden core cultivator, so I stayed here. The demonic beasts in the outer sea have gathered, so I went to investigate. A day ago there were already over 100 of them. I don't know what the situation is like now. There aren't many people left in Linhai Prefecture. Even if it's swallowed by the beast tide, it's not a big deal. I'm just worried that these demonic beasts will go against the current and pass through the Sky Chop mountain range, threatening the inland. Wang Daoyuan nodded. I'm also worried that these guys will go against the current. More than half of the human territory is in the Wanchuan River basin. If we let the demonic beasts roam free, I'm afraid the human race will suffer heavy losses. I'll go to the sea to investigate and kill their power. With that, he steered the flying boat towards the east. Wang Daoyuan had cultivated the complete heaven-peering technique. With his naked eye and the heaven-peering eye, his detection range had greatly increased. Before reaching the coast, he saw demonic beasts jumping out of the sea from afar. Below the sea there was also a black mass. The flying boat continued forward and came to a place thousands of miles away from the demonic beasts. Using the heaven-peering technique, he didn't discover the aura of a rank 5 demonic beast. However, the number of rank 4 demonic beasts here had already exceeded 200. If there were only these rank 4 demonic beasts, it would be impossible. If the bastards didn't come out, he would use these rank 4 demonic beasts to practice. Domain divine abilities were best at group battles. Of course, it was impossible to fight 200 rank 4 demonic beasts at the same time. However, he was a Yuanying cultivator. Rank 4 demonic beasts didn't have the initiative. He could attack more than 10 demonic beasts at the same time and kill as many as he could. If the demonic beasts wanted to counterattack, they would have to discover where he was first. He put away the flying boat, put on the black demon robe and used the concealment devil art. This move could even fool late-stage Yuanian cultivators. It was impossible for these rank 4 demonic beasts to discover it. He flew near the demonic beasts and instantly used his divine ability. He converted all the spirit chi in the divine ability domain to the water attribute and condensed it into 3 spirit chi balls. He drew out a wisp of Gui water death flame and ignited the spirit chi balls, transforming them into flame essence. A high-pitched dragon roar came from the flames. This was what the water-based demonic beasts were most afraid of. At that moment they felt terrified. Then the spirit chi balls turned into black fire dragons and attacked the 3 demonic beasts. Even if it was an ordinary mid-nascent soul cultivator, killing a 4th-order demonic beast would be a piece of cake. Even if Wang Daoyuan's technique wasn't mature yet, killing rank 4 demonic beasts was still a piece of cake. The spirit chi in the domain was sucked dry, and the spirit chi from the outside world was quickly replenished. He converted all the spirit chi into the water attribute and gathered it on the 3 fire dragons. The black fire dragon's body continued to expand, and its power grew stronger and stronger. He divided the 3 fire dragons into 6 and attacked the 6 demonic beasts at the same time. These rank 4 demonic beasts were naturally intelligent. They wouldn't just stay there and wait to be beaten. They all used their innate techniques to attack the 6 fire dragons. This time only 1 water dragon successfully killed the demonic beasts. The other 6 fire dragons were scattered, and black flames danced in the sky. Wang Daoyuan didn't care. He reformed the scattered flames into fire dragons and continued to attack the demonic beasts. They didn't even know where their opponents were and could only tangle with the fire dragons. This time the demonic beasts were somewhat desperate. The fire dragons couldn't be killed and there were more and more of them. Some of the demonic beasts began to dive into the deep sea in an attempt to avoid the attacks. However, there were still some who weren't afraid of death and continued to fight the fire dragons. After absorbing enough spirit chi, the fire dragons split into 12 again. This time there were even more demonic beasts running away. Soon, 70 to 80 of the 200 demonic beasts escaped. If this continued, all the demonic beasts would have to escape. A crocodile with a horn emerged from the water and roared, "Who dares to ambush us, demonic beasts? When the Nether Water Patriarch comes, you will die without a burial place." This was a Hui dragon in human form and could speak human language. The other rank 5 beast was the Nether Water Black Turtle. The Nether Water Patriarch that the Hui dragon mentioned should be that turtle. It seemed that the rank 5 beast was the one who ordered the demonic beasts to gather here. Wang Daoyuan controlled a water dragon to attack the Hui dragon. Just as the Hui dragon was about to die, a wave suddenly came and scattered the fire dragon, saving the Hui dragon's life. A low voice came from the bottom of the sea. "Daoyu is a Yuanian cultivator. Why do you have to bully a junior? If you want to fight, I will play with you." Chapter 807. Wang Daoyuan wasn't worried. Instead, he was happy that the Darkwater Black Turtle had finally shown up. After dealing with this guy, the entire Yen Kingdom would be at peace for a while. Soon, a black turtle with a diameter of 300 meters floated up from the deep sea. A mid-stage Yuanian cultivator with a domain ability. No wonder Black Ice Daoyu was defeated by you. He was stupid enough to leave the frozen ice field and fight you in the desert oasis. If we were on land, I wouldn't be your match. If we were in a river or lake, the water area would be too small. I might not be able to take you down. But this is the sea. There's endless seawater. Your domain ability is too shallow. You're far inferior to me in controlling water. Fighting me in the sea is no different from suicide." Then a huge whirlpool suddenly appeared in the sea. The surrounding seawater and the spiritual chi in the air were sucked into the whirlpool. Even Wang Daoyuan felt the huge suction force. The Class 4 demons naturally didn't dare to participate in the Yuanian level battle. They all fled east. Without the old turtle targeting them, they escaped easily. Wang Daoyuan was in trouble. Although the old turtle couldn't lock onto him, it could sense his approximate location. The suction force of the whirlpool was mainly aimed at his location. He couldn't escape with ordinary flying methods. He could only use an escape technique to get away from the whirlpool. Once he used it, his whereabouts would be exposed. However, since the old turtle had shown up, there was no point in hiding. The old turtle looked at him and nodded. "You're not simple. There's no aura of decay on you. You should be under 500 years old. You have such strength at such a young age. If we don't get rid of you, you'll be a disaster for us demons." Before it finished speaking, a huge water column gushed out from the whirlpool. It used the whirlpool to draw seawater and used the spiritual chi in it to cast spells. The effect of this method in the sea was no less than a domain ability. Wang Daoyuan used the cloud mist escape to dodge and the water column dived into the sea. As soon as he stopped, the water column gushed out from the sea. It was even stronger than before. Wang Daoyuan was ashamed of his inferiority to be able to control the seawater so smoothly. Without the use of sword cultivation spells, the old turtle's strength was slightly superior. But overall it was still at the same level. It was good to use it as a sparring partner. It was also a good opportunity to learn his water manipulation skills. Wang Daoyuan fused the 12 water dragons of Returnance flames together, transforming them into a dragon that was over 10,000 feet long. The dragon wrapped itself around the water column released by Old Tortoise. The flames on the dragon's body ignited the entire water column. After the water spiritual power in the water column was ignited by the Gui water death flame, it was equivalent to being refined by Wang Daoyuan. It would be extremely difficult for Old Tortoise to take control of it. He didn't waste any more of his energy and directly shattered the water column. Even the black fire dragon collapsed at the same time. Black flames scattered across the sea for hundreds of miles. Just as Wang Daoyuan was about to recondense the flames, the vortex swallowed them again. All the flames were swallowed by the vortex and sent hundreds of miles away. The rootless fire was too far away from its owner and was suppressed by the divine ability. Soon it was completely extinguished. Because the distance was too far, Wang Daoyuan couldn't retrieve the spiritual power. The spiritual power that he had accumulated for half a day when dealing with the rank 4 demon beast was gone just like that. The advantage of the domain divine ability was broken by Old Tortoise in this way. His method was still too simple. He could only rely on the water dragon to fight. Compared to Old Tortoise, who had lived for more than 10,000 years, he was still too far away. He had to research more methods in the future. Otherwise, when he encountered these old monsters who had lived for more than 10,000 years, he would have to use sword cultivation methods. However, he had to learn new tricks. Through the domain divine ability, he could also see the internal structure of the vortex. Imitating it wasn't a problem. Wang Daoyuan also controlled the seawater to form a vortex. At the same time, he used the domain divine ability to control the seawater near Old Tortoise's vortex so that the vortex could absorb less spiritual power. Then, he controlled a large amount of seawater to merge into his vortex. Suddenly, Old Tortoise's vortex spiritual power decreased. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly used the smoke escape technique, and in the instant that he escaped, a pillar of water shot up into the sky from his original position. He didn't dare to be careless again. He divided his attention to monitor the movements below the sea. The water column didn't hit him. It didn't chase after him anymore. Instead, it directly rushed into the vortex he condensed. The structure of the vortex was directly destroyed. The spiritual power that it had absorbed was all wasted. Old Tortoise mocked, "When it comes to controlling water, even a human who has awakened the water-controlling divine ability can't compare to my black tortoise bloodline. Do you really think you can beat me with your half-baked water-controlling skills?" The vortex was still gradually expanding, constantly extracting spiritual power for Old Tortoise's use. Its power was also getting stronger and stronger. Ordinary methods could no longer break it. Wang Daoyuan couldn't continue to practice the water-controlling divine ability. Since he couldn't afford to play, he would flip the table. He took out the Sword of Origin Restoration and instantly condensed the demon-slaying sword. With a wave of the long sword in his hand, the huge demon-slaying sword split the seawater in front of him in half. This place was the sea near the mouth of the 10,000 rivers. The seawater here wasn't deep. With a slash of the sword, the bottom of the sea was directly exposed. A chasm more than 300 miles long and 1,000 feet wide appeared on the surface of the sea. The seawater was split in half. There were some fish and prawns on the bottom of the sea that were killed by the sword chi. Some of the stronger ones were half dead, bouncing on the bottom of the sea. Of course, Old Tortoise's vortex was not spared. This sword was mainly aimed at the vortex. The entire vortex was cut in half and soon dissipated. Old Tortoise's eyes revealed a look of panic. He thought that victory was in his hands, but the situation was reversed in an instant. Wang Daoyuan showed a kind smile on his face. "How about I put away my sword and we continue to compete in the water-controlling divine ability?" Old Tortoise finally reacted. He knew that it would be difficult for him to take this sword. Even a fool wouldn't compete with an opponent who could kill him at any time. Without saying a word, he turned around and ran. Turtle-type demon beasts had extremely strong defense. In this sea, with the help of the water-controlling divine ability, their attack power wasn't weak either. It was just that their ability to escape was a bit lacking. Moreover, the sea was too shallow to hide from the detection of divine consciousness. Old Tortoise used the water-controlling divine ability and swam quickly in the sea. Wang Daoyuan's body turned into a long sword and instantly ran in front of him. Using the sword shadow divine light technique, 10 sword shadows appeared out of thin air, together with the long sword Wang Daoyuan transformed into, slashing at Old Tortoise's head. The possibility of capturing Old Tortoise alive in the sea with the water-controlling divine ability was very slim. Instead of wasting his energy, it was better to get rid of him as soon as possible. The golden core of a fifth-order demon beast could also help a cultivator break their core and form their nascent soul. At this time, violent fluctuations of the power of laws appeared on Old Tortoise's body, and his chi and blood also became violent. Black light flickered on his body. A moment later, a layer of tortoise shell phantom formed on his body. This tortoise shell was different from his own tortoise shell. It was exactly the same as the black tortoise's. Moreover, it emitted the aura of the black tortoise. It seemed that Old Tortoise had burned its black tortoise bloodline to withstand this attack. 11 long swords slashed up, and Wang Daoyuan only felt a strong rebound force. His whole body was sent flying and all 10 sword shadows were shattered. The sky-splitting sword escape was also broken. The black tortoise's shadow on Old Tortoise's body only became a little dimmer. After withstanding this attack, Old Tortoise did not continue fighting and quickly swam into the deep sea. The depth of the sea was more than 50,000 feet. If there was an oceanic trench, it could be as deep as 10,000 feet. If Old Tortoise escaped, Wang Daoyuan did not have the ability to find him in the vast sea. He used the sky-splitting sword escape again and followed Old Tortoise. The 5 natal magic artifacts in his body had fused into Yinglong's demon-slaying sword, and the Yinglong between Yuanying's eyebrows had also fused into the long sword. A high-pitched dragon roar sounded, and the netherwater black tortoise could not help but shiver. A bright yellow longsword appeared and then turned into a yellow light. The black tortoise's shadow on Old Tortoise's body did not even last half a breath under the yellow light. The yellow light pierced the netherwater black tortoise's tail and came out from its neck, giving it a chill. Blood gushed out from both of Old Tortoise's heads, and the sea was dyed red. Chapter 808. Wang Daoyuan used his heaven-prying eye to investigate. The old turtle's internal organs had been destroyed by the sword chi of Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. Without Yuanying, the rank 5 demonic beast's body was severely injured. There was basically no hope of survival. Now that its vitality had completely disappeared, it was indeed dead. Unfortunately, the rank 4 demonic beasts that he had killed earlier were all stirred up by the old turtle's vortex. He recalled Yinglong's demon-slaying sword and put the old turtle's body into the space of the spiritual pearl, handing it over to his clone to deal with. The rank 4 demonic beasts fled in all directions. Wang Daoyuan did not have the leisure to chase after them one by one. After dealing with the rank 5 demonic beast, the remaining minions could not cause any big waves. He took out the flying boat and flew towards Linhai Prefecture. Gu Chengfeng had been at the mouth of the 10,000 rivers looking east. With the eyesight of a golden core cultivator, he could not see the specific situation clearly from a distance of more than 1,000 miles. However, he could still see the large-scale spell cast by Wang Daoyuan and the netherwater black turtle. Seeing the flying boat flying over, he could not hide the excitement on his face. "Daoyu, I wonder if you have taken down the rank 5 demonic beast?" Wang Daoyuan nodded. "I killed a mid-grade rank 5 netherwater black turtle. The group of rank 4 demonic beasts that gathered before have also been dispersed by me." Gu Qingfeng cupped his hands. "Thank you, Daoyu, for getting rid of this great evil. The family business that my Gu family has accumulated for more than 10 generations is finally saved." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No one can stay out of the battle for the fate of the race. It's only right for me to take action. However, Daoyu can't let his guard down. Back then, Beiyuan Xiuxian was part of the great cultivation world. The demon race left behind a lot of wealth. If 2 mid-grade rank 5 demonic beasts could survive until now, it was possible for more rank 5 demonic beasts to survive. Daoyu is guarding Linhai Prefecture, so you must not let your guard down. Once you find anything unusual with the demonic beasts, inform me immediately. This is to prevent the demonic beasts from taking advantage of the situation and causing huge losses to the human race." Gu Qingfeng also had a solemn look on his face. "Daoyu, don't worry. The abnormal movements of the demon beasts in the sea are not only related to the safety of the human race, but also to the foundation of the Gu family. I will do my best, be it for public or private reasons. As long as I'm still alive, I'll keep an eye on the Eastern Sea. I will inform Daoyu immediately if anything happens to the demon race." After saying a few words, Wang Daoyuan left Linhai Prefecture and headed west. The Wanchuan River was still peaceful. Other than the sound of flowing water, he couldn't even hear the usual roars of demonic beasts. The flying vessel did not stop at Myriad Plains Market but headed straight for the capital, Clear Glass City. After entering the capital, Wang Mingchen personally led a group of people to the imperial city to welcome them. When he saw Wang Daoyuan, he bowed. "Welcome back, Imperial Father." In the space of the Spirit Pearl, the clone had almost finished dealing with the corpse of the underworld water black turtle. All the blood essence was extracted. The underworld water black turtle's black tortoise bloodline was not low. Using its blood essence to refine bloodline pills could help turtle-type demon beasts awaken their black tortoise bloodline and break through the bloodline bottleneck. 4 half-step Yuanying and peak stage golden core cultivators, a rank 5 demon core was an opportunity to break through to the Yuanying realm. The remaining body parts and the turtle shell were excellent materials to refine defensive Dharma artifacts. Unfortunately, the soul was not preserved. The soul of a rank 5 demon beast could be refined into a pseudo-weapon spirit with some methods to increase the power of Dharma artifacts. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. "No need to be so polite." With that, he took out the corpse of the underworld water black turtle from the space of the Spirit Pearl. Hang the corpse of the underworld water black turtle at the entrance of the imperial city. Tell the citizens of the Yen Kingdom and all the humans that the 2 rank 5 demon beasts of the demon race have been taken down. Since the appearance of the rank 5 demon beasts more than 40 years ago, the entire human race had been in a state of panic. They were all worried that the demon beasts would attack their spiritual mountains. Now that the 2 rank 5 demon beasts had been taken care of, it could also boost their morale. Wang Mingchen ordered his subordinates to hang the corpse of the underworld water black turtle. Wang Daoyuan continued, "Other than the matter of the demon beasts, we still have to deal with the matter of the spirit vein. I have some mid-grade rank 5 elements essence in my hands. Fusing it with the spirit vein can also slowly upgrade it." As the capital of the Yen Kingdom, Qingli City was extremely suitable in terms of geographical location. The only flaw was that the grade of the spirit vein was too low. No matter what, the Yen Kingdom was still a force with Yuanying cultivators in charge. It was embarrassing to say that the capital was built on a mid-grade rank 3 spirit vein. Wang Mingchen hurriedly said, "Father, please follow me." He brought Wang Daoyuan to an underground secret room in the imperial city. Beneath the secret room was the Qingli City spirit vein. This spirit vein was only a mid-grade rank 3 spirit vein and had not formed a spirit vein crystal. There was only a rock belt full of spirit energy. If the spirit vein could be upgraded to rank 4, this rock belt would turn into a spirit vein crystal. Wang Daoyuan took out the dust-returning flame and killed a path along the rock belt. Then he set up a spirit-nurturing array on the rock belt. This method was similar to upgrading the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein. With the 5 elements essence, upgrading the spirit vein would be simple. There was no need to make a hole in the spirit vein, fuse the spirit vein essence and then seal it. He took out 5 types of 5 elements essence from the space of the Spirit Pearl, each 1 inch long. He used the 5 element spirit fire to burn them into liquid and directly fused them into the rock belt. In just half an hour, the 5 elements essence had completely fused into the spirit vein. The effect of fusing rank 5 elements essence into a mid-grade rank 3 spirit vein was still very obvious. The spirit energy fluctuations on the rock belt had obviously increased, but it had not reached the point of upgrading. However, from the looks of it, it would only take a few months for it to be upgraded to a high-grade rank 3 spirit vein. Although this method was more stable, the speed of upgrading the spirit vein was far slower than fusing with the spirit vein essence. It needed to be slowly activated. Using the Earth Mountain technique, he sealed the spirit vein. Wang Daoyuan instructed, "In the next few years the spirit vein's grade will rapidly increase. After that, the speed will slow down but it will still slowly increase. In the end, the spirit vein will have a slight chance of upgrading to a rank 5 spirit vein. Don't use too much spirit energy in the next few years. When the spirit vein stabilizes, it should be able to grow to a rank 4 spirit vein." Wang Mingchen nodded, "Don't worry, Imperial Father. I will send people to look after the spirit vein." Wang Daoyuan said a few words then returned to the Jade Spring Peak. Now that the Green Willow secret territory had appeared, the Jade Spring Peak's importance was not as important as before. However, it was still the symbol of the Wang family. Taking advantage of the fact that the demonic beasts were relatively quiet and there was no need to activate the mountain protecting formation, he could upgrade the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein's grade. Beiyuan Xiuxian's spirit chi was recovering. If he fused some Gui water essence into the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein, the possibility of breaking through to the rank 5 spirit vein in the future was still very high. His little uncle Wang Shoujo was already a 4th-tier low-grade array master, so Wang Daoyuan did not need to worry about setting up the spirit-nurturing array. He arrived at the escape tunnel of the Jade Spring Peak and followed the previous method. He melted a 3-inch-long piece of Gui water essence into liquid and merged it into the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein crystal. There was no need to worry about the other spirit veins. The spirit vein in the Green Willow secret realm was related to the Big Willow tree. Even if he infused the 5 elements essence into it, it wouldn't have much of an effect. After obtaining the Green Willow secret realm, the importance of the 5 elements secret realm was greatly diminished. It was only used as a secret base to nurture the clansmen. Now, the 5 spiritual veins in the 5 elements mystery realm had all grown to upper rank 3. The core of the secret realm was the 5 elements heaven suppressing seal, a mid-grade 4th-tier magic artifact. The upper limit of the spirit vein's growth was limited by the core of the secret realm. No matter how much 5 elements essence was infused into it, it could only grow to the middle grade of the 4th stage at most. There was not much value in investing a large amount of resources in the elemental mystery realm. 2 months later, the spirit vein of the capital, Clear Glass City, was raised to the 3rd level high grade. Moreover, the concentration of spiritual energy was increasing more and more violently. According to this trend, it wouldn't take too long for it to be raised to the 4th level low grade. The concentration of spiritual energy produced by the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein had also clearly increased. It was not far from the 4th level high grade. It was hard to say whether it could be raised to the 5th level, but raising it to the 4th level high grade was definitely not a problem. Chapter 809. After solving the problem of the spirit vein, Wang Daoyuan had nothing else to deal with for the time being. Thus, he returned to his underground cave residence to cultivate. However, the heavens were not on his side. News came from the West Sea that there were traces of a rank 5 demonic beast. A rank 5 inferior grade demonic beast came ashore from the West Sea and attacked the archaic Arcanum Sect's property. The human race's reinforcements were not in time and were unable to take it down. The archaic Arcanum Sect lost 2 golden core cultivators and one of their offshore properties was severely damaged. It was not a good sign for such a thing to appear in the West Sea. The most frightening thing was that this beast was not a tortoise-type demonic beast, but a Hui dragon. Although the Hui dragon's lifespan was not short, its lifespan was not as long as a rank 5 tortoise-type demonic beast. A rank 5 Hui dragon's lifespan might exceed 10,000 years, but it would not exceed that by much. A demonic beast would need a few thousand years to reach the rank 5 realm from birth. If it broke through the rank 5 10,000 years ago, it would not be possible for it to survive until now. If it was a demonic beast from 10,000 years ago, it might be very powerful, but there would not be many of them. After all, not all demonic beasts could hibernate for 10,000 years. If it broke through later, it would mean that there was rank 5 spiritual energy in the West Sea. This would be troublesome. After so many years, how many rank 5 demonic beasts would there be? Furthermore, there might be many peak rank 5 demonic beasts. Peak rank 5 demonic beasts might not be stronger than Old Master Huang. However, it would be difficult for Wang Daoyuan to deal with such a level of strength. If there were more peak rank 5 demonic beasts, the human race would not be able to deal with them. With the appearance of this rank 5 inferior grade Hui dragon, there might be a large number of rank 5 demonic beasts appearing in the West Sea. Wang Daoyuan had to make preparations to head to the West Sea. Seeing his serious expression, Zhou Wan asked, "What's wrong? Why do you look so pale?" Wang Daoyuan sighed. A rank 5 inferior grade Hui dragon appeared in the West Sea. It attacked one of the archaic Arcanum Sect's properties and killed 2 golden core cultivators. Zhou Wan frowned and thought for a while. It is very difficult for a rank 5 Hui dragon to live for so long. This Hui dragon should have broken through to the rank 5 later on. The West Sea might have always had a rank 5 spirit vein. Of course, the Hui dragon might have been lucky and found a rank 5 spirit item that had been left behind. Are you going to leave again and go to the West Sea? Wang Daoyuan nodded his head and said, "It's hard to say now. If this Drake is really lucky and managed to find a spiritual item left behind over 10,000 years ago, then there won't be too many 5th-order demonic beasts in the West Ocean. With Master, the exquisite pagoda, and my black ice tortoise clone, guarding the West Sea shouldn't be too big of a problem. If the West Sea really had a rank 5 spirit vein, then there would be a war between the races. This was also very easy to distinguish. If more non-turtle type class 5 demonic beasts were to appear in the West Sea, they would be able to confirm that there was a Class 5 spirit vein in the West Sea. In order to prevent the situation at the West Sea from worsening, I left in a hurry. I have to make preparations now. After I leave, you will continue to oversee Jade Spring Peak. I'll leave the 2 puppets to you. That sword puppet is also my clone. It can handle things on its own. I'll let it oversee the Green Willow Secret Realm. As for the other puppet, you can use your divine sense to control it to fight enemies. However, the spiritual power inside the puppet is limited. I've placed 3 spirit gathering pearls inside the puppet, which is equivalent to 6 high-grade spirit stones. If it's used up, it won't be able to fight for a short time. If it's placed near a Class 4 spirit vein, it'll take a month to completely recover. I'll leave Jade Spring Peak and Clear Glass City to you. Also, leave my clone Jiaqi behind. You don't have to worry about him. I'll let him oversee Wanchuan Market. Zhou nodded. Don't worry. Although my strength is far inferior to yours, it won't be a problem for me to help look after the family business. If there's an enemy I can't deal with, I'll think of a way to send a message to you. Now that our relationship has been made public, Blood Shadow already knows about it. They haven't made any moves, so I can still use Blood Shadow's information system as I wish. It seems that group of old fellows have tacitly agreed. When you leave, bring along the command medallion of the Northern Mountain Branch's Vice Hall Master. If there's any urgent news, it'll be faster to send a message. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, Don't be so anxious. What kind of situation is still undetermined? Let's see the situation first. Right now there's no Class 5 spirit vein, so the cultivation speed is too slow. Let's make the best use of the time to cultivate. In the next few months, Class 5 demonic beasts would occasionally appear in the Western Sea, but they didn't cause too much damage. Apart from that Hui dragon, there was also a giant python and a Class 5 low-grade mixed blood rock. 3 demonic beasts that weren't known for their lifespans appeared in a row. It couldn't be that each demonic beast was lucky enough to coincidentally encounter a Class 5 spirit vein. It seemed that there really was a Class 5 spirit vein in the Western Sea. Although there hadn't been a request for help, Wang Daoyuan didn't plan to wait any longer. The demonic beasts were already showing signs of coming ashore. These 3 demonic beasts might just be scouting. Only after figuring out the strength of the human side could they make a move. Once they made a move, it would be a disaster. By then it might be too late to ask for help. Wang Daoyuan took out a storage bag and handed it to Zhou. The demonic beasts might invade the Western Sea at any time. I have to hurry over and prepare. Otherwise, once the demonic beasts invade, the Archaic Arcanum sect might not be able to wait for my help. There are 20 spirit gathering pearls inside. If you encounter a Class 5 demonic beast and the puppet doesn't have enough spirit energy, change the spirit gathering pearls for the puppet. If there's anything you don't understand, ask Jiaqi. There are 40 nascent cultivating elixirs, 39 death resurrection elixirs, and 20 vats of 100 fruit wine. I'll leave the clan's side to you. Zhou kept the storage bag and smiled. Don't worry. When you went to the Sea of 7 Stars before Honored Teacher came over, I've been guarding the clan's side. Wang Daoyuan hugged Zhou and took advantage of her before leaving amidst Zhou's scolding. The shore of the Western Sea was less than 1,000,000 miles away from the Jade Spring Peak. It would only take a few days by flying on a Class 5 high-grade flying boat. South of Mount Huiyin, there were still many mountains over 10,000 feet tall. If he wanted to cross over, he would have to go deep into the 9 heavens astral wind layer. The flying boat was not like a flying warship. Its hull was not strong and could not withstand the destruction of the 9 heavens astral wind. North of the mountain, there were no tall mountains blocking the way. To avoid detours, he went from the mountains north. 3 days later, the flying boat arrived at the shore of the Western Sea. Looking up, there were many large and small white reefs in the sea. There were also many rocky islands in the distance. The vegetation on the islands was not very lush. The concentration of spirit energy in the sea was denser than on the shore. Wang Daoyuan sensed carefully and did not find any aura of the power of law. Moreover, the spirit energy in the sea was somewhat violent. It was similar to the spirit energy in the southern wasteland, but there were obvious differences. The reason for the violent spirit energy was not explained in detail by the ancient powerhouses. Wang Daoyuan naturally did not have the ability to investigate. He came from the mountains north and was now tens of thousands of miles north of the Archaic Mysteries sect. The demon race was now at the stage of probing the human race. Naturally, he could not expose his whereabouts. He put away the rank 5 flying boat and replaced it with a rank 4 mid-grade flying boat. He lowered his flying altitude and flew in the south direction. His own spirit energy fluctuations were also suppressed to the late Aurus core stage to avoid attracting the demon race's attention. A few hours later, he arrived near the Archaic Mysteries Sect's mountain gate. There was nothing special about the Archaic Mysteries Sect's mountain gate. It was built on a low mountain range that was only a few hundred feet tall. Although this mountain range did not look impressive, it still had a large peak rank 4 spirit vein. There were all kinds of formations on the mountain. With Wang Daoyuan's cultivation, he did not dare to barge in recklessly. He took out the communication jade talisman and sent a message to his master, telling him that he had come. Then he sent a message to Taoist Master Xian Tian, asking him to send someone to quietly pick him up and not reveal his whereabouts. After a while, Xian Jiuxiao came over sneakily. When he saw Wang Daoyuan, he said intimately, "Brother is finally here. There are already 3 rank 5 demonic beasts on the demon race's side. Father and martial uncle Lei Yan were considering whether to send you a message. Now that brother is here, we are relieved." Chapter 8:10. Xian Jiuxiao called him elder brother, which sounded even better than real brothers. Wang Daoyuan smiled, "I've already dealt with the demon beasts in the East Sea. With Zhou Wan guarding, we don't have to worry about any problems for now. I heard that there are rank 5 demon beasts in the West Sea. I was worried that we wouldn't be able to handle it, so I came to help as soon as possible. Elder brother, please follow me. Father and the other seniors have been waiting for a long time." Then the two concealed themselves and came to a cave. Lei Yan Jinren, Xian Tian Jinren, and the other half-step Yuanying cultivators who came to help were all here. Xian Tian Jinren personally welcomed them at the door. "Daoyuan, you're finally here. During this time, 3 rank 5 demon beasts have appeared. I was really worried that we wouldn't be able to handle so many rank 5 demon beasts suddenly appearing. Now that you're here, I'm finally confident." Then he led him into the cave. Wang Daoyuan bowed to everyone in the cave. "Greetings, master and seniors." Lei Yan Jinren smiled. "To be able to kill a rank 5 mid-grade netherwater black turtle in the sea, it seems that I underestimated your strength. I used all my methods to kill the netherwater black turtle. Fortunately, it was in the shallow sea and that beast had nowhere to run. If it was in the deep sea, I wouldn't have been able to keep it. Right? How are the rank 5 demon beasts here? Even if they were of the same rank, there would be a large difference in strength between a demon beast that had just broken through to rank 5 and a demon beast from 10,000 years ago." Lei Yan Jinren replied, "That mixed blood rock was extremely fast. It ran away when it saw me. I used lightning techniques to attack it, but it also used an escape technique to dodge. Without truly fighting, it's hard to judge its strength. On the other hand, the Hui dragon and the giant python exchanged 1 or 2 moves with me. They aren't very strong, about the same as the bone demon of the demon race. Among the 5 Yuanying demons, the bone demon's strength should be second to last, inferior to the lightning demon, ice demon, and blood demon. In addition, Lei Yan Jinren was a lightning cultivator and had a strong restraining effect on demons. In his eyes, the demons should be on the weak side. The Hui dragon and the giant python were about the same as the bone demon. It seemed that these guys were somewhat weak. This was the worst result. Weak meant that they hadn't broken through for long. Moreover, their talents might not be good enough. The demon clan also had different levels of talent. Demon beasts with poor talent could cultivate to the 5th rank. This was even more frightening. Seeing that his expression wasn't too good, Lei Yan Jinren smiled and said, "You don't have to be too pessimistic. On the surface, the human race only has a few Yuanying fighters, and none of them are in the late stage of the Yuanying realm. The West Sea monster tribe shouldn't be completely unaware of this. Even though they knew that the human race was not strong, they still did not act rashly. This meant that they did not have the confidence to win, or even if they won, they would suffer heavy casualties. From the looks of it, the demon race is not much stronger than us." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Even so, we still have to make preparations as soon as possible to avoid being caught off guard by the demon clan." Master Xian Tian had a difficult expression on his face. After struggling for a long time, he said, "Martial nephew Daoyuan, I have a presumptuous request. Since you can upgrade the Tai Celestial Sword to the 5th level lower grade, I wonder if you can repair the yin-yang compass passed down by the Celestial Arcanum sect? This yin-yang compass was left behind by the ancestor of the Shen clan. It was once a 7th level magic weapon, and it also has a weapon spirit. If you can upgrade it to the 5th level, the weapon spirit will awaken, and the power it can unleash should not be inferior to the purple gold jewel pagoda. Of course, I won't let you work for free. From today onwards, Dao you can enter and leave the Celestial Arcanum sect's Celestial Arcanum pagoda." The Celestial Arcanum Pagoda's name was well known in Beiyuan Xiuxian. This pagoda was built by an ancient powerhouse, and there were many senior experts' insights left behind. Once a cultivator entered, they would automatically fall into an illusion. In the illusion, the senior experts who left behind their insights would appear in front of the cultivator and impart the techniques they were good at. The Celestial Arcanum Pagoda had a total of 9 levels, and they respectively recorded the inheritance of pills, weapons, talismans, formations, spells, techniques, divine abilities, and the demon race and the demon race. Each level had more than one type of inheritance, and each level contained the inheritance of many powerful experts. It could be said that the Celestial Arcanum Pagoda was a gathering place for all kinds of inheritances. Of course, how much one could learn depended on one's own ability. To leave behind one's own inheritance in the pagoda, one's cultivation had to at least reach the Mahayana stage. The spiritual imprints left behind by these powerful experts were not something that anyone could easily bear. Even the cultivators of the Celestial Arcanum sect would only be able to enter the pagoda if they were at the peak of the Golden Core stage, and their spiritual imprints were far stronger than those of the same stage. This Celestial Arcanum Pagoda was actually an extremely powerful magic equipment, and it was said that it was at the peak of the 7th grade, and was not far from an immortal equipment. Even though Beiyuan Xiuxian did not have enough spiritual energy, its power was not something that an ordinary 5th grade magic equipment could compare to. It was just that the cultivators of the Celestial Arcanum sect did not have the ability to activate the Celestial Arcanum Pagoda. Currently, the only use of the Celestial Arcanum Pagoda besides the inheritance was to protect the Celestial Arcanum sect. Coincidentally, this pagoda was located right in the middle of the sect, and its power could cover the entire sect. If one could enter the Celestial Arcanum Pagoda, one's level in the 4 Tao of pills, weapons and talismans would definitely improve greatly. Furthermore, one could use this opportunity to study one's own divine ability. One could also try to perfect one's own cultivation technique. Cultivating in this environment would not cause any harm to one's body. Even if one's cultivation went berserk, it would not be a big deal. Furthermore, one could experience this rare feeling, and it would be beneficial to one's state of mind. Having the guidance of an ancient almighty was much better than deducing and comprehending on one's own. Helping the Celestial Arcanum sect to improve the yin-yang compass grade would also increase the strength of the human race. Whether it was for public or private reasons, this was something that should be helped. Wang Daoyuan pondered for a moment, then smiled and said, "I heard that the yin-yang compass is extremely complicated, and I am not confident. Feel free to try. After all, this yin-yang compass was once a 7th grade magic equipment, and it would not be easily damaged. Since that is the case, then I will not decline." Soon, Taoist Shen brought Wang Daoyuan to the Celestial Arcanum sect's crafting room. He took out a palm-sized compass, and on the surface of the compass was a Taiji diagram. Looking at this yin-yang compass, Wang Daoyuan frowned. "I repaired the Tai sword because I have a good understanding of the Tai sword's forging method. This yin-yang compass is much more complicated than the Tai sword, and I do not know how to do it." Taoist Shen smiled and said, "Your 2 spiritual fires contain pure yin and pure yang qi, and they should have already reached the 5th grade. I will activate the yin-yang compass in a while, and you only need to inject the yin and yang qi into the compass. This is a small matter." Taoist Shen injected his spiritual energy into the yin-yang compass, and the surface of the compass flickered with black and white light. Wang Daoyuan immediately extracted the yin and yang qi from his spiritual energy and injected it into the compass. After receiving the nourishment of the 5th grade pure yin and pure yang qi, the yin-yang compass's spiritual energy undulations began to increase. Taoist Xuanqian's face was filled with joy. This method is indeed effective. There should be no problem with the yin-yang compass recovering to the 5th grade. This way we will have another Yuanying fighting force. 2 months later, the yin-yang compass's spiritual energy undulations could no longer increase, but it was still desperately absorbing the yin and yang qi. The yin and yang qi that was absorbed would not disappear for no reason, and would definitely remain in the yin-yang compass. The only thing that could absorb the yin and yang qi was the weapon spirit. It seemed that the weapon spirit was about to awaken, and as long as it awakened, the magic tool would automatically break through to the 5th grade. After another 2 days, violent spiritual energy undulations appeared in the compass, and an extremely strong power of law was transmitted. At this moment, a strong pressure appeared in the sky. Soon after, a purple-gold lightning descended from the sky. This was the lightning tribulation after a magic tool nurtured a weapon spirit, and it was the same when Ling Long woke up. This lightning simply ignored the rock layer above the refining room and directly struck the yin-yang compass. Fortunately, the two of them were already prepared and were far away from the yin-yang compass. However, this lightning did not cause any damage to the yin-yang compass. An indistinguishable male and female voice came from the compass. After sleeping for 10,000 years, the 5th grade yin-yang qi has finally awakened me. Chapter 8:11. Just as he finished speaking, a 1-foot-tall figure appeared on the yin-yang compass. This person was wearing a black and white robe. He looked like a man, but his face was very delicate. He looked like a woman. His voice was also very neutral. It was impossible to tell if it was a man or a woman. Taoist Xiantian hurriedly cupped his hands and said, "Xian Tianming, the 48th generation descendant of the yin-yang god, greets the yin-yang ancestor." The yin-yang ancestor glanced at him. Half a step into the Yuanying realm. The spiritual energy in Beiyuan Xiuxin hasn't recovered yet? 10,000 years ago, I calculated that it would take more than 20 years to awaken. Why is it so early? After he finished speaking, he looked at Wang Daoyuan. Where did this mid-stage Yuanying Jr. come from? The pure yin and pure yang aura that awakened me seemed to have come from your body. In my calculations there was no such person. A Yuanying cultivator couldn't have escaped my calculations. Taoist Xiantian replied, "Ancestor, this little friend is an unnamed disciple of the treasured tripod lineage of the Divine Weapon Pavilion. He previously traveled overseas and obtained a fortuitous encounter, which allowed him to break through to the Yuanying realm. Now that level 5 spiritual energy is about to appear in Beiyuan Xiuxin, the demons of the West Sea are constantly harassing him. In order to increase his strength, he awakened me." Hearing this, the yin-yang ancestor carefully sized up Wang Daoyuan. He's from the treasured tripod lineage. This aura has nothing to do with the treasured tripod lineage. There's the aura of spiritual fire. Although this method of using spiritual fire isn't very advanced, it's very unique and has great potential. There's the aura of the Valley of Beasts true dragon body tempering technique and the sword intent of the Guiyuan sword immortal. There's also the aura of an extremely powerful divine beast. This divine beast is related to the 5 elements divine beasts, but it's stronger than them. In ancient times I followed the first master and saw many divine beasts, but I've never seen such a strange divine beast. Let me calculate your background. Taoist Xiantian hurriedly said, "When martial nephew Daoyuan was in the early stage Zifu realm, my brother saw that he had the luck of a Yuanying cultivator. He even suffered some backlash. Later, when I broke through to the Golden Core realm, my providence became even stronger. I didn't even dare to look. Now that he has cultivated to the middle stage of Yuanying, I'm afraid you'll suffer a serious backlash if you try to divine his situation." The yin-yang ancestor did not believe it. "It's fine. I'm the artifact spirit of the yin-yang compass." Although the yin-yang compass had fallen to the low grade of the 5th level, its foundation was still at the 7th level. Looking at the background of a Yuanying Jr., it doesn't matter if there's some backlash. With that, Patriarch Yin-Yang's eyes turned purplish gold. At this moment, a wave of heavenly might suddenly descended and enveloped him. Panicking, Patriarch Yin-Yang hurriedly withdrew his secret technique. The purplish gold color in his eyes receded, and the heavenly might also dissipated. He stared at Wang Daoyuan for a long time before saying, "He seems to be a descendant of some great power in the ancient times. Furthermore, it's not as simple as a master-disciple inheritance. It might be a bloodline inheritance. I was almost struck by lightning when I tried to deduce your background. It seems like this world wants to save itself, so it pushed out such a person." Wang Daoyuan did not know the background of his ancestor, but it did not matter. There was nothing special about the descendants of great powers. Some great powers would have their descendants who were not very talented. They would let them open a harem and leave behind more descendants. The status of these descendants would not be too high. Other than the talented ones who would be put in important positions, the rest would gradually disperse. After tens of thousands of years, who knew how many descendants there were? It was possible that any random mortal would have the bloodline of an earth immortal. Every generation was immortal, and it was very difficult for them to survive. In the current human race, whose ancestor had not been rich, Patriarch Yin-Yang pondered for a while before saying, "Xian Tianming, let this junior go to the Heavenly Mystery Tower. There are sword intents left behind by sword immortals. It might be beneficial to him. Our archaic mystery sect follows the will of the heavens. Since he was pushed out by the heavenly Tao, no matter what the outcome is, we have to help him." Taoist Master Shen Tian replied, "Patriarch, don't worry. I have already promised Marshal Nephew Daoyuan that I can go to the Heavenly Mystery Tower at any time. That's good. Go and settle your own matters. I sensed Linglong's aura. We have known each other for tens of thousands of years. I will go and have a chat with her. After saying that, he flew away with the yin-yang compass. Daoist Xian Tian asked, Does Marshal Nephew Daoyuan need to prepare before entering the Heavenly Mystery Tower? There is nothing to prepare. I can enter at any time. It's just that I am worried that when I enter the Heavenly Mystery Tower, the demon race will invade. If I am trapped inside, it will be troublesome. Daoist Xian Tian smiled. No worries. In these 2 months, the demon race did not make any moves. Normally, peak golden core cultivators would be able to last for 2 hours after entering the Heavenly Mystery Tower. Even Yuanian cultivators would find it hard to last for more than a day. Also, I can control the Heavenly Mystery Tower through the array. If the demon beasts really invade, I will just wake you up. Since that is the case, let's enter the Heavenly Mystery Tower now. You can more or less increase your strength. Daoist Xian Tian brought Wang Daoyuan out of the crafting room and walked towards the center of the Archaic Mysteries sect. This was a small hill that was about 1,000 feet tall. The top of the hill was very flat, as if it was carved out by a sword. At the top of the hill was a flat land with a radius of about 10 miles. In the center was a white stone pagoda. This pagoda was not small. The first floor was about 1,000 feet in diameter. There was a plaque hanging on the door of the white stone pagoda. The words Heavenly Mystery Tower were written on it. The Heavenly Mystery Tower could be said to be one of the best treasures in the entire Beiyuan Xiuxian. However, there was not a trace of spirit energy on this white stone pagoda. It looked unremarkable and was no different from a pagoda built by mortals. The two of them came to the door of the white stone pagoda. Daoist Xian Tian took out a white jade token. After injecting spirit energy, the token emitted a jade glow. It was still on the plaque and the door opened quickly. Daoist Xian Tian smiled. I believe you know a thing or two about the situation in this Heavenly Mystery Tower. The 1st to 4th floors are elixir, equipment and talisman arrays. The 5th, 6th and 7th floors are for spells, cultivation techniques and divine abilities. Since you want to increase your strength quickly, you should focus on the 5th, 6th and 7th floors. The sword Immortal Legacy mentioned by Patriarch Yin Yang is also on the 5th and 6th floors. Once you enter the pagoda and find a suitable legacy, you will automatically fall into an illusion as long as you use your divine sense. The flow of time in the illusion is much faster than the outside world. A day outside is a year inside. You don't have to worry about spending too much time. These legacies have the essence soul imprints of ancient almighty figures. It will put a lot of pressure on a cultivator's soul. If your divine sense cultivation is not strong enough, it might even hurt your soul. If you feel that you can't bear it, come out as soon as possible. Don't force it. Wang Daoyuan nodded and walked into the white stone pagoda. There were more than 100 prayer mats on the ground of the 1st floor. Each prayer mat corresponded to a black jade-like crystal. There were complicated carvings around it. Although Wang Daoyuan had never seen this thing before, he did not find it unfamiliar. The puppet arts mention this thing many times. This was the spiritual item used to refine the puppet's core, the soul crystal. It could be used to preserve the soul and record any information. As long as the spiritual power in it was not exhausted, the information would not be lost. Beside the soul crystal were some words written in ancient characters. Looking carefully, these words were the names and basic information of ancient almighty figures. Wang Daoyuan was going to deal with the demon race. It was inevitable that he would have to fight in the sea. It was better to increase the power of his divine sense first. He stopped looking at the alchemy legacies and walked straight to the stairs at the edge. He climbed up the stairs and soon arrived at the 7th floor. There were much fewer prayer mats here. There were only 40 to 50 of them. The furnishings were not much different from the 1st floor. Wang Daoyuan carefully looked at the introductory text on the wall and soon found a domain-type divine sense. The owner of this inheritance was called Divine Venerable Demon Sealing. According to the text, this person was also a cultivator with 5 spiritual roots. Moreover, the divine sense was also a 5-element domain. Unless it was a bloodline inheritance, there was almost no divine sense that was completely the same. Domains of the same attribute might not be the same. Divine Venerable Demon Sealing's divine sense domain mainly walked the path of sealing. However, this was already the closest divine sense. It was still very useful as a reference. Chapter 8:12. Wang Daoyuan didn't dare to rashly send his divine sense in. Although the legendary Heavenly Mystery Pagoda wasn't dangerous, he couldn't let his guard down. He took out his doppelganger Liao Yang from the spirit pearl space and had him send his divine sense into the soul crystal. The doppelganger Liao Yang was instantly immersed in the illusion. A boundless lava lake appeared in front of him. Liao Yang was a fire attribute cultivator. It seemed that the imprint in the soul crystal would choose the scene according to the cultivator's inheritance. Soon after, a gray-robed old man with white hair and a white beard appeared in front of him. There was nothing special about this person. Apart from being able to fly, he didn't look any different from ordinary people. Liao Yang cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, senior." Divine Venerable Demon Ceiling waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. You don't have any divine abilities, so why did you come here? This illusion consumes a lot of divine sense. It might even damage your soul. Your divine sense cultivation is low and your soul is seriously damaged. You should leave as soon as possible." Then he waved his sleeve and Liao Yang woke up from the illusion. In just a short while, his divine sense had been consumed. Wang Daoyuan was relieved. At least this divine sense imprint didn't have any evil intentions. He put Liao Yang into the spirit pearl space and sent his divine sense into the soul crystal. He was instantly immersed in an illusion. This time he wasn't in a lava lake but in the sea. Divine Venerable Demon Ceiling appeared again. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, senior." Divine Venerable Demon Ceiling glanced at him. "Not bad. Your soul is strong, far surpassing others of the same level. Your divine ability is the 5 elements domain. It's very similar to my divine ability. Unfortunately, you walk the path of attack and aren't suitable to learn my sealing technique. However, it's rare. With the same 5 elements domain, I can teach you a lot. Your divine ability is still relatively shallow. You've only studied the combination of water attribute spells and divine abilities. I'll start from water attribute spells." Wang Daoyuan was startled. Divine Venerable Demon Ceiling had seen through him. Although he didn't mention the spirit pearl, who knew if he found anything strange. Seeing his expression turn bad, Divine Venerable Demon Ceiling stroked his beard and smiled. "Junior, don't worry. I'm just a divine sense imprint left behind by Divine Venerable Demon Ceiling." He also knew very little about things other than God arts. This divine sense imprint didn't have the ability to remember. After you leave the illusion, all memories of you will disappear, and your secret will not be revealed. If you want to leave a mark in the soul crystal, you'll have to have a spiritual sense comparable to a Grand Ascension cultivator. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan let down his guard. Thinking about it, it made sense. If anyone could leave behind their memories in the soul crystal, it would be impossible for them to leave their memories behind. It was likely that the inheritance had long since become a mess and had no value at all. At that moment, the Demon Ceiling Hierarch spoke again. "Display your ability so that I can give you some pointers based on your ability." Wang Daoyuan no longer hesitated and activated his divine ability to absorb the spiritual energy on the sea surface. Then he released the Gui Water Death Flame to refine this spiritual energy into spiritual fire essence. Then he used these spiritual flames to form a black fire dragon. Hierarch Sealer Demon nodded and said, "This water attribute spiritual fire is extremely rare. When the two are combined, they can display quite a bit of power. Try attacking me with this fire dragon. Let me see how powerful it is." Although the Gui Water Death Flame could burn the spiritual sense and soul, Hierarch Sealer Demon was a dignified ancient powerhouse. He didn't care about a mere 5th grade spiritual fire. The black fire dragon flew towards him, but he only stretched out a finger and tapped the tip of the water dragon's nose. Wang Daoyuan kept controlling the spiritual energy in the domain and fusing it with the fire dragon to strengthen it. However, he still couldn't force Hierarch Sealer Demon's finger back. Hierarch Sealer Demon motioned for him to continue. After spending a full 2 hours, the fire dragon's tail stretched out of the domain, but there was still no movement. However, even after using the divine ability for 2 hours, Wang Daoyuan didn't feel any obvious loss of spiritual sense power. He was still in peak condition. Hierarch Sealer Demon nodded. The domain divine ability combined with this spiritual fire is indeed powerful. Don't use brute force. Use some changes. Wang Daoyuan divided the black fire dragon into more than 10 and attacked him from different directions. Hierarch Sealer Demon nodded slightly. Then more than 10 blue water droplets appeared beside him, blocking a fire dragon. No matter how Wang Daoyuan urged, the fire dragon couldn't shake the water droplets in the slightest. The fire dragon was composed of the Gui Water Death Flame and could burn all water-attributed energy. However, the water droplets weren't affected at all. They could even steal the fire dragon's power and strengthen themselves. He was astonished. He had never seen such a powerful technique before. The water droplets gradually grew while the fire dragon kept shrinking. In the end, the water droplets surpassed the fire dragon and swallowed it. Hierarch Sealer Demon smiled. What did you comprehend? Wang Daoyuan closed his eyes and pondered, comprehending the previous scene. Not only was the fire unable to burn the spiritual energy in the water droplets, but it was also being sucked away by the water droplets. This was due to insufficient control over spiritual energy. Hierarch Sealer Demon's control over spiritual energy was so strong that the spiritual fire couldn't shake it. Therefore, it couldn't burn the spiritual energy in the water droplets. His control over spiritual energy was still too weak, so he couldn't fully display the power of the spiritual fire. Instead, his own spiritual energy was being stolen. Hierarch Sealer Demon smiled when he saw Zhu An's enlightened appearance. It seems you've thought it through. Your control over spiritual energy is insufficient. When I first condensed that water droplet, I didn't use any power beyond the Yuanying realm. Moreover, the amount of spiritual energy it contained wasn't even 1% of the fire dragons. But I'll say that I used this 1% of my strength to block one of your fire dragons. I'm only a spiritual sense brand and can't refine spiritual energy. The spiritual energy in the water droplet was formed by forcibly compressing spiritual energy with my divine ability. If I could refine it, I would be able to display even more power. Your comprehension is extremely high and your battle prowess far surpasses other cultivators of the same realm. However, you rely too much on the spiritual fire. Relying on the spiritual fire to control spiritual energy is indeed very powerful. However, without the spiritual fire, your control over spiritual energy is extremely poor among Yuanying cultivators. You only know how to use the spiritual fire, but you know very little about its power. To you, this spiritual fire is still considered an external force. If you meet an opponent who also has a spiritual fire, you might not be able to withstand a single blow. Your control over spiritual energy is insufficient. Your power is like a ball of loose cotton, while my water droplet is like a piece of iron. 5,000 kilograms of loose cotton is less powerful than 1 or 2 kilograms of iron. Wang Daoyuan deeply agreed. He really did rely too much on the spiritual fire. Without the spiritual fire, the divine ability's power would be next to nothing. He cupped his hands and said, Junior understands. Senior, please enlighten me on how to improve my control. That's simple. It's just a matter of grinding. I can sense Sword Immortal Beiyuan's sword intent on your body. Moreover, this inheritance is very authentic. Presumably, you've also learned his sword aura transformation technique. Controlling spiritual energy and controlling sword aura are similar. Sword aura is also a type of spiritual energy. It's just that one uses sword intent to control spiritual energy. Just follow his example. First, put away the spiritual fire and use the sword aura transformation technique to control spiritual energy. Domain divine abilities can directly control spiritual energy and transform it into spiritual energy. It's just that you have the spiritual fire, so you haven't studied this ability. Now try to use your divine ability to control spiritual energy and directly cast magic arts. The magic arts cast this way can reach the power of ordinary cultivators of the same level. You've also trained your control. When facing an enemy, add the power of the spiritual fire and use your divine ability to defeat most cultivators below deity transformation. Wang Daoyuan did as he was told. He put away the Gui water hell flame and all of his spiritual energy and directly used his divine ability to control the spiritual energy in the domain. He transformed it into spiritual energy and used the sword aura transformation technique to control sword aura. He controlled this unrefined spiritual energy to cast magic arts. After only a few attempts, he successfully condensed a thumb-thick water dragon. Divine Venerable Sealing Demon stroked his long beard and nodded with satisfaction. You're worth teaching. Chapter 8:13. The spiritual energy contained within the water dragons was only at the level of an early Foundation establishment cultivator's full-force attack. Combined with the power of the natural laws, it would at most be able to heavily injure a middle Zifu disciple. To the current Wang Daoyuan, this level of power was negligible. However, this was still a technique that had yet to be refined. He had used a divine ability to directly execute it. Everything was difficult at the beginning. After passing the trial of starting from nothing, the rest was simple. 1 year in this illusory realm was equivalent to only 1 day in the outside world. There was still plenty of time, and so he calmed himself down and slowly trained. The demon sealing sovereign carefully guided him from the side, pointing out his mistakes in a timely manner. With a primordial era expert personally teaching him, his rate of improvement was naturally extremely fast. Unknowingly, 2 years had passed. Wang Daoyuan's control over spiritual energy had greatly increased, and his understanding of divine abilities had greatly improved as well. Now, when he used his divine ability, he could cover an area of 250 kilometers. With but a thought, the spiritual energy within 250 kilometers condensed into 20 balls of spiritual energy, which quickly transformed into water dragons. These water dragons were fairly small, not even 30 meters long. However, the spiritual energy contained within them was no less than the hundreds of meter-long fire dragons from before. The entire process only took half a breath of time, which saved him the need to refine spiritual energy, making it much faster. The demon ceiling sovereign laughed. Not bad. Try attacking me with those water dragons again. Wang Daoyuan didn't say a word, immediately controlling the 20 water dragons to surround him. The demon ceiling sovereign condensed 20 fist-sized balls of water, easily blocking the water dragons. Wang Daoyuan was somewhat discouraged. He had spent 2 years, but in front of the demon ceiling sovereign, it wasn't even worth mentioning. The demon ceiling sovereign's face was filled with praise. Not bad. Your control over spiritual energy has improved quite a bit. It's already somewhat difficult for my water balls to devour the spiritual energy within the water dragons. Use that black spiritual flame of yours to refine the spiritual energy and see how powerful it is. Wang Daoyuan did as he was told and released the Gui water nether flame, causing the 20 water dragons to instantly transform into black dragons of fire. The ripples of spiritual energy instantly increased by a large margin, and the water balls condensed by the demon ceiling sovereign began to tremble slightly. Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed. After 2 years of hard work, he was finally able to shake the demon ceiling god monarch's magic. Demon Sealer was also delighted. Peak Yuaniing cultivators without divine abilities are usually no match for you. Even if a Yuaniing peak cultivator with the water manipulation divine art could suppress you, it would be difficult for him to win quickly. The domain god art didn't consume his own spirit power. As long as his opponent couldn't win quickly, he would lose without a doubt if the battle dragged on. After all, you're only at the mid-stage of Yuaniing. It's hard for you to improve your water manipulation domain in a short period of time. However, there was almost no limit to a domain ability. As my cultivation level increases, my ability to control water will become stronger and stronger. Wang Daoyuan had fought Old Master Huang before, and if he met someone of the same level now, he would definitely be defeated. He might be at a disadvantage if he relied solely on his divine ability, but he definitely wouldn't lose quickly. If they continued to compete in attrition, victory would still be within their grasp. He bowed and said, "Thank you for your guidance, Senior. Junior's divine ability has indeed improved greatly." Demon Sealer smiled. Not only has your divine ability improved, but your control over spirit power has also increased. The power of all your spells has also increased. Now your overall strength should have increased by a lot. Cultivators with the 5 elements domain technique are extremely rare. With your talent, it shouldn't be difficult for you to cultivate to the Mahayana realm in the future. I'll give you more pointers. Don't worry about your spells. You've also cultivated the sword chi transformation technique. You can create any spell you want. It'll take you a few years to figure it out. Put your time into controlling spirit power and laws. As long as you can do both well, a drop of water will be able to kill a powerful enemy. Just like what I used before, I just condensed it casually and didn't use any spells. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan condensed another sword shadow. As expected, it was much stronger than before. Demon Sealer continued, although you don't walk the path of sealing, domain god arts ultimately lead to the same goal. You can also learn from my understanding of domain god arts. Domain god arts have the laws of space. The highest form of their development is to become a small world. In this world you are the heavenly Tao. All power is under your control. You can lock your opponent in your world and use the power of the entire world to deal with him. Even if you're not as strong as your opponent, you can easily win. How to grow to this point? Everyone's path is different. If I say too much, it will have a negative effect on you. I'll give you a goal. You can slowly explore it. After staying in the illusion for 2 years, I reckon your main body's divine sense has been greatly consumed. You should quickly leave to avoid harming your soul. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands again and said, "Thank you, Senior." Then he woke up from the illusion. His divine sense had indeed been consumed by half. There was still a lot left. His body didn't feel any obvious discomfort. He took out some nectar of the 7-leaf ghost face flower and drank a few mouthfuls. In just half a cup of tea's time, the power of his spiritual sense was almost restored. Just as he was about to enter the illusion again, the heavenly mystery tower suddenly closed. He also received a message from perfected Shen Tian. The message said that the demon race was about to make a big move and asked him to come out of seclusion as soon as possible. Wang Daoyuan didn't dare to delay and quickly left the heavenly mystery tower. Shen Jiuxiao was waiting outside the heavenly mystery tower. When he saw him come out, he quickly cupped his hands and said, "Brother, the Yin-Yang Patriarch has divined the heavenly secrets. The demon race will invade soon. There will be many Class 5 demon beasts. There might even be upper-grade Class 5 demon beasts. You can't underestimate them. Father ordered me to ask you to come out of seclusion early and adjust your condition to deal with upper-grade Class 5 demon beasts." The demon beasts were serious. Wang Daoyuan naturally didn't dare to be negligent. He followed Shen Jiuxiao to a hall near the heavenly mystery tower. His master and the half-step Yuanying cultivators were already waiting here. Seeing Wang Daoyuan come in, perfected Shen Tian quickly said, "Martial nephew Daoyuan, you're finally here. Did you gain anything in the heavenly mystery tower?" Wang Daoyuan answered, "I gained a little. Dealing with upper-grade Class 5 demon beasts shouldn't be a problem." "That's good. The Yin-Yang Patriarch has divined that there will be demon beasts invading in 2 days. Maybe the demon race was alerted when you woke up, so they didn't dare to wait any longer." The Yin-Yang Patriarch's figure appeared out of thin air. "The West Sea is the end of the world. The heavenly secrets are chaotic. I can't divinate too carefully. I only divined that there are many Class 5 demon beasts. There might even be demon beasts stronger than me. I can deal with mid-grade Class 5 demon beasts with divine abilities. There might be more than one Class 5 upper-grade demon beasts. I feel that you're much stronger than me. Looks like you gained a lot in the heavenly mystery tower." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "My divine abilities have improved. Now, I should be able to kill demon beasts that are similar to the ice tortoise in terms of strength and defense." Hearing this, everyone was shocked. The ice tortoise's strength was too high for them. Even Ling Long and the Yin-Yang Patriarch could barely defeat it. Taoist Shen Tian asked, "In your opinion, how should we deal with the demon beasts?" Wang Daoyuan shook his head and said, "I'm new here and don't know much about the West Sea. You guys can decide how to fight. Leave the strong enemies to me." Taoist Shen Tian nodded and said, "We can't be sure how many Class 5 demon beasts there are. It's too risky to go out and fight. We'll fight this battle at the mountain gate. With the protection of the heavenly mystery tower, we'll have a stable rear. As for the properties in the West Sea, they're just worldly possessions. There's no harm in abandoning them. Withdraw all the men and bring all the resources you can." One had to admit that this Taoist Shen Tian was quite bold. Since the archaic mystery sect was willing to sacrifice, the others naturally had no objections. Wang Daoyuan's ice tortoise clone had been hiding in the sea. He also needed to call it back and release a large number of soul-chasing bees to patrol the coast. The soul-chasing bees' endurance wasn't strong. They could only fly for 20 to 30,000 miles. It was enough to monitor the coast. 2 days later, he learned from the soul-chasing bee king that a large number of Class 4 demon beasts had come ashore and began to sweep the various properties in the coast. Chapter 8:14. It wasn't uncommon for Tier 4 demonic beasts to attack coastal industries. But previously, it was always a few Tier 4 demonic beasts that sneaked onto the shore and ambushed industries with fewer guards. But now there were hundreds of Tier 4 demonic beasts on the shore. This didn't seem like a sneak attack, but a decisive battle. Wang Daoyuan used the Wasp King to order the spirit-chasing wasps to retreat immediately. Unfortunately, Tier 3 spiritual wasps were too slow in front of Tier 4 demonic beasts. Of the thousands of Tier 3 low-grade spirit-chasing wasps, more than half were killed. It wasn't realistic to expect the spirit-chasing wasps to find traces of Tier 5 demonic beasts, so Wang Daoyuan called them back. After this group of Tier 4 demonic beasts swept through the area, they didn't find anything valuable. After all, demonic beasts didn't need smithing materials, so mines were worthless to them. The spirit plants that had been planted in industries such as spirit fields had also been removed, leaving only bare land. Tianji sect's mountain gate was over 20,000 miles away from the west coast, and there were hundreds of industries in between. The demonic beasts took half a day to reach the mountain gate. At this moment, the mountain protecting array was activated, and the entire Tianji sect's mountain gate was enveloped in the mountain protecting array. Even though Tianji Mountain only had Tier 4 peak spiritual veins, the array was passed down from ancient times, and was once a Tier 7 array. Under the control of cultivators, even Tier 5 low-grade demonic beasts would need a long time to break through. These Tier 4 demonic beasts could only circle around the mountain gate. There were a few demonic beasts that weren't afraid of death, and they tried to attack the array. However, the Celestial Arcanum sect was famous for its arrays. How could the mountain-protecting array, which was used to protect the sect, be something ordinary? For those demonic beasts that dared to approach the array emitted a few rays of light, and over 10 Tier 4 demonic beasts died instantly. The rest of the demonic beasts retreated 500 miles away from the array, afraid that they would be killed. These demonic beasts didn't leave Tianji Mountain, and they waited nearby. Soon, over 10 auspicious clouds floated over from the west. Everyone in the hall used their spiritual senses to scan over, and they discovered that the auspicious clouds were emitting strong spiritual energy waves. It seemed like these fellas were Tier 5 demonic beasts. Everyone's expression didn't look good. Over 10 Tier 5 demonic beasts were too big of a threat. The auspicious clouds stopped 500 miles away from the edge of the defensive formation. The two auspicious clouds continued to move forward, arriving right above the edge of the formation. These two auspicious clouds dispersed, and two demonic beasts appeared in the sky. One of them looked like a tiger, but it had a pair of wings and the fur on its body was like sharp thorns. There was a wind attribute spiritual energy fluctuation on his body. He was probably at the upper level of the 5th rank. The other was a gigantic snake that was several hundred meters long. Its body was pitch black and its head was green. There wasn't a single trace of spiritual energy fluctuation on the giant snake's body. Instead, the surrounding spiritual energy was constantly converging on its body before disappearing. Wang Daoyuan felt that the two fellows in front of him looked familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen them before. He carefully recalled all the books he had read about rare and exotic beasts, but he couldn't recall what species these two fellows were. However, Ling Long and Patriarch Yin Yang saw some clues. Ling Long had a look of disbelief. "Brother Yin Yang, you have been in the West Sea for more than 100,000 years. How could there be such a thing in the depths of the West Sea?" Patriarch Yin Yang nodded. "The West Sea is the end of the world where the laws are chaotic. In my early years I had followed the first master to the extreme west. It was like the scene when the world was first created. Even Mahayana cultivators didn't dare to stay there for long. It wouldn't be strange for strange things to appear there. It's just that after the appearance of the decimating heaven abyss, the spiritual energy north of the decimating heaven abyss has been constantly declining. I'm not sure what the situation is now." Ling Long had her hands behind her back, and her expression was solemn. "This Cheong Chi and Snake Xiu are legendary beasts that were born when the world was first created. Later the world of the Chenyuan world changed. After the ancient era ended, this world was no longer suitable for them to live. Apart from a few exotic beasts such as dragons and phoenixes, which merged with the heavenly Tao and formed the divine beast race, most of the other exotic beasts disappeared. Most of the other mutated beasts had disappeared. The few that left behind their bloodlines had also become ordinary demonic beasts. It seems that there are still places suitable for exotic beasts to live in the extreme west. Otherwise, these two evil creatures wouldn't have been left behind." After hearing Ling Long's words, Wang Daoyuan suddenly remembered where he had seen these two things. In his previous life he had read the classic of mountains and seas. Cheong Chi and Snake Xiu were both recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. Cheong Chi punished the good and promoted the evil. It fed on humans and was a proper evil beast. Snake Xiu was the Ba Serpent. The story of the Ba Serpent swallowing an elephant was very famous. This guy liked to devour things and its ability was also devouring. If these two guys were left alone, the human race would be in trouble. Among the exotic beasts that were born when the world was first created, there were strong and weak ones. The strong ones might not be inferior to divine beasts like true dragons. Cheong Chi and Snake Xiu were both strong among the exotic beasts. They might be much stronger than demigod beasts of the same level. Cheong Chi flapped its wings and said with a voice that sounded like a wolf's howl and a dog's bark, "Someone of the human race, come out." Wang Daoyuan had never shown his face in front of the West Sea's demonic beasts. He could still hide his identity. The only one who could come out was spiritual master Lei Yen. He put the Ling Long pagoda into his body and flew to the top of the main hall. He cupped his hands towards the two exotic beasts and said, "Daoyu, why did you come here instead of cultivating in the West Sea? The laws in the depths of the West Sea are chaotic. It's not easy to survive. With our 5th level cultivation we might lose our lives at any time. On the other hand, the laws of the land are stable and we demonic beasts can also live and reproduce. As long as you humans give up the territory within 100,000 miles of the west coast, we can live in peace. The demonic beasts were not all boorish fellows who only knew how to fight with their lives on the line. Other demonic beasts aside, Xiongqi's biggest hobby was eating humans. Who would believe it when it said it could live in peace? Spiritual Master Lei Yen said, "We humans have occupied this place for more than 100,000 years. How can we give up the foundation of our ancestors so easily? The territory of the West Sea's demonic beasts is in the West Sea, and we humans have never invaded the West Sea. I hope Dao Yu won't start a war so easily. It's better for each of us to defend our own borders." Seeing that its game had failed, Xiongqi also showed its true colors. "I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't grasp it. Since that's the case, we can only break through this place by force and sweep all the way to the east. There will be no more humans in Beiyuan." After saying that, it flapped its wings fiercely, and 2 gusts of wind blew towards the main hall below. The gusts of wind hit the defensive formation, and the whole defensive light shield started to shake violently. Xiongqi was an immemorial mutated beast, and its strength was naturally much stronger than other demonic beasts. The defensive formation of the archaic Arcanum sect was only at the peak of the 4th stage. How could it withstand such a powerful attack? The defensive light shield shook violently, as if it was going to collapse at any moment. Spiritual Master Shen Tian did not panic at all. Instead, he was very calm. He quickly formed a seal with his hands, and a 1-foot-tall pagoda image appeared, which was exactly the same as the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. The pagoda image flew towards the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda, and merged with the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Then, streams of light started to appear from the plain Heavenly Mystery Pagoda, and they merged into the defensive formation. The defensive light shield instantly stabilized, and it only shook slightly after taking Xiongqi's attack. Under such circumstances, even if they continued to attack the formation, they would not be able to break it. As an immemorial mutated beast, Xiongqi was in existence on the same level as a divine beast. Naturally, it was not stupid. If the attack did not work, it would be a waste of energy to continue attacking. He stopped flapping his wings and sneered, "This pagoda is quite interesting. As long as you remove the formation and give us the pagoda, we will return to the West Ocean without any territory." Spiritual Master Lei Yen glanced at him. "Dao Yu, stop playing these little tricks. Unless you have the strength of a divine transformation realm cultivator, you will not be able to break the defense of the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Dao Yu, you should retreat as soon as possible in case you lose your thousands of years of cultivation." Snake Xiao, who had been silent all this time, snorted, "Junior, you are too arrogant. Do you think you can stop us with a mere pagoda?" After saying that, it opened its mouth and started to suck in the defensive formation. A gust of wind started to blow, and a large amount of spiritual qi started to gather in Snake Xiao's mouth. However, the defensive light shield was still shaking slightly, and the spiritual qi inside was still operating normally. It did not look like it was going to break at all. Chapter 8:15. This time the monsters are dumbfounded. Even the 2 strongest monsters can't do anything about the formation. The monsters don't have the means to break the formation, so they can only attack it by force. Now that their attacks are ineffective, they can't break the mountain guarding great formation. Wang Daoyuan has been paying attention to Qiongqi and Snake Xiao, estimating their fighting capacity. They are indeed immemorial rare beasts. The means they have used are not much weaker than Master Huang's. When Qiongqi and Snake Xiao are at a loss of what to do, an auspicious cloud drifts over. On the cloud is an extremely coquettish man with 2 beast ears on his head and 7 tails on his back. Judging from his appearance, he should be a 9-tailed fox. He whispers to Qiongqi and Snake Xiao for a while. Then Qiongqi shouts, "Since you're cowards, we'll leave the Tianji mountain and let you stay here. This place is protected by a rare treasure, but I don't believe the whole territory of the human race is protected by a rare treasure. I'd like to see if other places can stop the monsters of the West Sea." Hearing this, the Supreme Emperor of the Qin State, the immortal Mo Lin, is a little panicked. Among all the states, the Qin State is the closest to the West Sea. Once the monsters go around the Tianji mountain and sweep eastward, the Qin State will be the first to be attacked. It is undeniable that this move of the monsters is really ruthless. They are playing a psychological trick. Just like the immortal Mo Lin, if the Qin State is massacred by the monsters, will he still stay here wholeheartedly? Wang Daoyuan asks himself if his own state is attacked by the monsters, he will go back immediately. Shen Tian also seems to be in a dilemma. He asks through sound transmission, "Apprentice nephew Daoyuan, are you sure you can take down these 2 monsters?" Wang Daoyuan answers, They haven't used their full power, so I can't estimate their power. Then he asks Ling Long, little brother, how's the fighting capacity of Qiongqi and Snake Xiu? How much stronger are they than a half-divine beast? Ling Long also answers through sound transmission, half-divine beasts are nothing. The experts among the immemorial rare beasts can compete with divine beasts of the same level. Qiongqi's divine ability was wind riding. Although it was not as powerful as the 5 elements divine beasts, it was not a problem for it to deal with the weaker species of dragons and phoenixes. For example, the mystical dragon phenomenon of your ancestor and your 12th uncle, the mystical dragon is one of the weaker dragons. If they were both at the 7th rank, they would be slightly stronger than Snake Xiu. However, they were still a bit weaker than Qiongqi. Overall, Qiongqi's strength could be ranked in the middle of the dragon clan. Snake Xiu is slightly inferior, but it can still be ranked below average. After hearing this, Wang Daoyuan had a rough idea of what to do. The strength of demonic beasts of the same rank was closely related to the strength of their bloodline. The power of Qiongqi and Snake Xiu could be compared with some dragons. They were definitely much more powerful than the semi-divine beast. The strength of a semi-divine beast could surpass 90% of human cultivators of the same level. As for divine beasts, only the top figures of the human race could compete with them. Then, the strength of these two fellows should not be weaker than Old Master Huang. They might even be stronger. With his strength, he might be able to defeat the two of them in a battle of attrition. However, it might take a few hours. The remaining 11 rank 5 demonic beasts were not easy to deal with. For example, this 7-tailed fox was not weaker than the black tortoise. A few hours was enough for the other demonic beasts to wipe out the archaic mysteries sect. Wang Daoyuan also transmitted a message to everyone, if I fight Qiongqi and Snake Xiu at the same time, I won't be able to defeat them quickly. I can only delay them. If that's the case, you will have to face 11 rank 5 demonic beasts. The only way is to separate Qiongqi and Snake Xiu. I will kill one of them as fast as possible. Without these two troublesome fellows, the other demonic beasts are just lambs waiting to be slaughtered in front of me. Taoist Shen Tian pondered for a long time before replying, the yin-yang compass has the sealing ability. It can temporarily suppress one demonic beast. Together with the suppressive effect of the purplish gold jewel pagoda, it won't be difficult to stall one demonic beast. However, no one can deal with the other 11 rank 5 demonic beasts. Unless I take the risk to release the array and use the power of the heavenly mystery pagoda to stall the 11 rank 5 demonic beasts. However, I don't know how powerful the other demonic beasts are. With the power of a half-step Yuanying, I can't guarantee how long I can stall the demonic beasts even if I activate the heavenly mystery pagoda. If they are all at the same level as Chuolong, it won't be a problem. However, a 7-tailed fox appeared just now. Its power is far above Chuolong's. If there are more demonic beasts at this level, I won't be able to do anything. If we fail, the demonic beasts will come in and we will all die. The human race will have no hope. Taoist Mo Lin was silent for a long time. Let's continue to wait here. We'll wait until some of the rank 5 demonic beasts leave. The ancestors of the state of Qin also had Yuanying cultivators. Their core defensive arrays are all at the rank 5. Even if the rank 5 demonic beasts go over, the whole race won't be exterminated. As for losing some of our people, we can still bear it. However, if we lose, everyone will have no hope. For the future of the human race, the state of Qin will bear this loss. Taoist Shen Tian also sighed, we'll also abandon all the properties and disciples to the east of the heavenly mystery mountain. At this moment of life and death, they can only abandon the rook to save the king. After making the decision, they are no longer in a hurry. They just wait for the demonic beasts to disperse slowly. After a long time of stalemate, the demonic beasts really can't keep their cool anymore. Qiongqi says something to the 7-tailed fox. Then the 7-tailed fox leads 6 demonic beasts of the 5th rank and leaves. Outside the mountain protecting formation of the archaic mysteries sect, there are 4 rank 5 demonic beasts besides Qiongqi and Snake Xiu. The rank 4 demonic beasts have all dispersed. Staying at the archaic mysteries sect will not be of any use. 7 rank 5 demonic beasts with hundreds of rank 4 demonic beasts are enough to wipe out the whole of Beiyuan. The battle here must be finished quickly. After dealing with the remaining 6 rank 5 demonic beasts, they still have to chase after the demonic beasts that have dispersed. After the time it takes to drink half a cup of tea, the higher-ups of the archaic mysteries sect receive messages from everywhere. These are all requests for help from the properties that have been attacked. Taoist Shen Tian started to cry. However, he refrains himself from looking at the jade talisman and does not ask Wang Daoyuan to get into action now. He knows that these demonic beasts have not gone far. If they get into action now, they will be able to come back soon. Once the plan fails, the human race will be in real danger. Until 2 hours later, he says, the sealing technique and the suppressive force are not very useful against big demonic beasts. Snake Xiu's body can become very big. It will be very difficult to stall him. Qiongqi is not big. I will stall him. As for the other 4 demonic beasts, I will leave them to Daoyu. The remaining 4 demonic beasts are definitely not weak. It will not be easy to stall them. Taoist Mo Lin says without any hesitation, it is just a life. At worst I will die here. Even if I die, I will drag a beast to the grave with me. The yin-yang compass in Taoist Shen Tian's hand shines brightly. A huge Taiji image soars into the sky. It crosses the formation and moves towards Qiongqi. Taoist Lei Yan also takes out the purple gold exquisite pagoda. The pagoda instantly expands to more than 10 zhang tall and flies out of the formation to cover Qiongqi. Qiongqi wants to dodge. However, the suppressive force of the purple gold exquisite pagoda severely restricts its speed. It is unable to escape for a while. The Taiji image quickly comes over. With the exquisite pagoda above and the Taiji image below, Qiongqi is suppressed in an instant. It flaps its wings continuously. Gusts of strong wind like sword energy hit the Taiji image. The Taiji image trembles violently. However, it shows no sign of breaking. Seeing this, Snake Xiu waves its long tail and sweeps towards the exquisite pagoda. Right at this moment, a simple long sword soars into the sky and slashes towards Snake Xiu's tail. As an immemorial demonic beast, Snake Xiu is naturally knowledgeable. Seeing the power of this long sword, it immediately retracts its tail. Unfortunately, it is still slower than the flying sword. The Beiyuan sword slashes its tail. Snake Xiu's body is big. It can swallow all kinds of good things. His body is not weak either. However, this slash does not cut off its tail. It only leaves a deep wound. Blood splatters everywhere. Chapter 8:16. The power of this sword made Snake Xiu feel scared. The person who could make this sword attack definitely had the ability to kill it. Before it could react, Wang Daoyuan turned into a long sword shadow and attacked it. Snake Xiu quickly shrank its body to 10 feet long and dodged this attack. Wang Daoyuan used his theurgy and all the spiritual energy around him was turned into metal element. The control of spiritual energy he learned from Demon Sealing Immortal was not only useful when he used water element spells. When he used spells of other elements, their power was also greatly increased. The metal element spiritual energy instantly condensed into 36 sword shadows and slashed at Snake Xiu. If it succeeded, even if it couldn't kill it, it would be severely injured. Snake Xiu didn't dare to be careless and opened its mouth to swallow the sword qi. Wang Daoyuan lost control of the sword shadows. These sword shadows flew into Snake Xiu's mouth and were finally swallowed into its stomach. The Archean strange beast was really something. It broke the Big Dipper sword formation directly. Snake Xiu roared, "What are you waiting for? Go and save Qiongqi." The other 4 beasts quickly flew over. Lei Yin Jinren and the half-step Yuanying cultivators on the human side also took action to block the 4 beasts. Snake Xiu could swallow the Big Dipper sword formation, but it could only dodge the Guiyuan sword and didn't dare to swallow it. It seemed that this guy also had a weakness. He used the sword controlling technique to control the Guiyuan sword and kept attacking Snake Xiu. All the spiritual energy entering Shin Tong's field was turned into metal element. At the same time, he released the Tai golden flame to refine the spiritual energy and pour it into the Guiyuan sword. After Snake Xiu shrank its body, it became more agile and kept dodging the attacks. The Guiyuan sword could only scratch it occasionally and leave a shallow scar. On Qiongqi's side, the Taiji diagram was shaking more and more violently and was about to collapse. It couldn't be delayed any longer. He had to end the battle quickly. Wang Daoyuan used the sky-splitting sword teleportation and turned into a long sword to attack Snake Xiu. This guy didn't swallow a lot of spiritual energy for nothing. It opened its mouth and spat out a lot of bones, gravel and other things. Under the support of his divine ability, these miscellaneous items were also extremely powerful. Wang Daoyuan had no choice but to use the Sword Shadow Divine Light technique, condensing sword shadows to protect himself from the attacks. Snake Xiu was an extremely greedy creature. At the moment, Wang Daoyuan didn't have any magic treasures in his hands, only the sword silhouettes condensed by his spiritual power. To Snake Xiu, this was like a piece of juicy meat delivered to its doorstep. Greed rose in its heart again. While Wang Daoyuan's sword shadow was tangling with the debris, Snake Xiu's body quickly expanded. When it was 1,000 feet long, it opened its bloody mouth and cast the devouring divine ability, trying to swallow Wang Daoyuan. The surrounding spiritual energy crazily surged into Snake Xiu's mouth, and a fierce wind appeared within a radius of 1,000 miles. The half-step Yuanying cultivators couldn't resist the wind and had no choice but to use their escape techniques to escape from the range of the Snake Xiu divine art. Wang Daoyuan couldn't control his body anymore, and couldn't stop himself from flying into Snake Xiu's mouth. Instead of being scared, he was happy. Snake Xiu was very agile when it shrunk its body. Even if he used the sword to attack, the accuracy was not high. Wang Daoyuan also didn't dare to use Yinglong's demon-slaying sword as an ordinary attack. If he couldn't kill it with one strike, it would become a war of attrition, and the other cultivators wouldn't be able to hold on. Now that it had shrunk its body and cast the divine ability, its agility must be limited. In Wang Daoyuan's dantian, the 5 life-bound magic treasures had already fused into Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. A large amount of spiritual power in his body had been turned into sword energy and merged with Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. When it was 2,000 feet away from Snake Xiu's mouth, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword appeared out of nowhere and stabbed into Snake Xiu's mouth. This sudden change shocked Snake Xiu greatly. It hurriedly twisted its body trying to dodge this attack. Unfortunately, the distance was too close. Before it could twist its body, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword had already pierced into its mouth and came out from the back of its head. Snake Xiu's brain was directly turned into paste by the sword energy. Most of the sword energy went through its body and crushed all its internal organs. Snake Xiu struggled powerlessly for a few times, then lay on the ground and kept twitching. Wang Daoyuan controlled Yinglong's demon-slaying sword and attacked Qiongqi. Seeing Wang Daoyuan kill Snake Xiu, Qiongqi was extremely frightened. Its blood energy fluctuated violently, and a whirlwind appeared around it. It kept flapping its wings, injecting spiritual power into them. Taoist Xiantian didn't have much spiritual power left, so how could he resist Qiongqi's blood essence? The Taiji diagram collapsed, and the purple-gold exquisite pagoda was also sent flying. The moment it broke the seal, it was trapped by a black cage. Qiongqi was extremely frightened, and attacked the cage with all its might. The moment it broke the cage, a bright yellow light flashed. A 3-inch hole appeared on Qiongqi's back, and blood splattered everywhere. The fierceness in its eyes slowly disappeared, and its body fell down powerlessly. After killing Qiongqi, Wang Daoyuan let out a sigh of relief. That fellow was a wind attribute exotic beast, and it even had 2 wings. If it escaped, even a 5th-grade flying boat wouldn't be able to catch up. In just a few breaths' time, the 2 strongest demon beasts were killed. The remaining 4 5th-grade demon beasts were dumbfounded. What happened to the absolute advantage? With the yin-yang compass and the purple-gold exquisite pagoda, as well as Taoist Lei Yen and a group of half-step Yuanying cultivators, they were able to suppress the demon beasts. Wang Daoyuan stared at a gray rock. This rock was a 5th-grade middle-grade demon beast, and wasn't the mixed-blood rock that came to scout the way before. Its bloodline was purer, and it was at least a half-divine beast. Moreover, it was of the wind attribute. Rocks were extremely fast, not to mention a wind attribute one. If he could catch it and refine it into a clone, it would be much easier to chase and escape in the future. Wang Daoyuan used Black Tortoise Purgatory again, and trapped the gray rock. The gray rock struggled in Black Tortoise Purgatory, but couldn't break free. Wang Daoyuan let out a tiger's roar, and the gray rock fainted on the spot. This was the white tiger soul subduing roar, and the other demon beasts and cultivators were also affected. However, they weren't the main target, and were only stunned for a moment before returning to normal. Wang Daoyuan shouted, "Exquisite pagoda, keep this fella. Don't kill it, I have a use for it." The exquisite pagoda quickly flew over and kept the gray rock inside. Taoist Xiantian's yin-yang compass was indeed not weak. It condensed a Taiji diagram, and trapped a 5th-grade low-grade long-tailed bird. 2 half-step Yuanying cultivators took out their magic tools, and attacked the long-tailed bird continuously. Wang Daoyuan didn't care about them, and used his sacred art to condense dozens of long sword shadows, killing the remaining 2 demon beasts. In such a short time, all 6 5th-grade demon beasts were taken down. There was no joy on everyone's face, because there were still 7 5th-grade demon beasts and hundreds of 4th-grade demon beasts wreaking havoc in the human territory. Wang Daoyuan kept Snake Xiu and Qiongqi's corpses, and didn't care about the other 2 demon beasts' corpses. He said to Taoist Xiantian, "Find me a secluded place, I will try to subdue the gray rock, and explore the secrets of the West Sea." After Daoist Shen Tian dealt with the long-tailed bird, he nodded, "Jiuxiao, bring Daoist Yuan to the back mountain." Shen Jiuxiao quickly flew out and cupped his hands, "Brother, please follow me." Wang Daoyuan took out the unconscious gray rock from the exquisite pagoda, and followed Shen Jiuxiao to a valley in the back mountain. There was a clear spring here and all kinds of exotic flowers and herbs. On the cliffs on both sides of the valley there were caves. This is the place where the Tianji sect's disciples are in seclusion. No one will disturb them and no one else is here. After speaking, he casually opened a cave. Wang Daoyuan entered the cave and Shen Jiuxiao also turned and left. He took out Ruan Chang's divided soul and fused it with the gray rock soul, and then kept the gray rock into the spiritual pearl space. Ruan Chang was only a mid-grade 4th grade smithing master, so he didn't have much value now. After half a cup of tea's time, Wang Daoyuan left the cave. At this moment, Daoist Lei Yen and the group of half-step Yuanian cultivators had already left the Tianji sect, and were heading east to hunt down the demon beasts. He didn't stay in the Tianji sect, but took out his high-grade 5th grade flying ship and headed east. Chapter 8:17. The Tianji sect underestimated the number of West Sea monsters. They thought there were only 6 or 7 rank 5 monsters. The industries within 3,000 miles east of the Tianji sect were also abandoned in advance, so there was no loss. Many industries further east, because they were far away, did not evacuate people. The defensive arrays of these industries were all broken, and the resources such as the spiritual fields and mines were all in a mess. There were many broken magic tools and bloodstains on the ground, but no cultivator's body was seen. The flying boat continued to the east, and soon found the traces of rank 4 monsters. These demonic beasts did not form groups to attack the various industries. Instead, they were fleeing in all directions. Wang Daoyuan also conveniently killed off any 4th-order demonic beasts he encountered. The Black Ice Turtle avatar had been following Lei Yanjinren. He sensed the Black Ice Turtle and knew that they were chasing monsters in the southeast. 4 rank 5 monsters and most of the rank 4 monsters continued to flee to the east, while the rest of the monsters fled to the north and south, trying to escape back to the West Sea. The cultivators who went to chase them did not care about those who fled back to the West Sea. They were chasing the monsters who fled to the east. Once these guys fled into the hinterland of the human clan, the casualties would be great. Except for the 4 top forces and the 2 countries of Zhou and Qin, other forces did not have the ability to resist dozens of rank 4 monsters, let alone rank 5 monsters. These demonic beasts were really going all out, running towards the east with all their might. Along the way they killed more than 20 rank 4 monsters and entered the territory of the Qin state. There were more traces of monsters here. Many towns and villages were in ruins. Broken clothes and blood could be seen everywhere on the ground. At this time, the soul of the avatar Grey Rock had merged with the original soul. Wang Daoyuan also put away the flying boat and rode the Grey Rock to the east. Ordinary monsters, flying at full speed, was not inferior to the escape technique of cultivators of the same level. It was just that cultivators could use the escape technique, and it was good to be able to fly for thousands of miles. But rank 5 monsters could fly for hundreds of thousands of miles without a problem. Moreover, monsters did not have no escape technique. This Grey Rock had the wind escape technique. Its usual speed could reach more than 30,000 miles in 2 hours, and it could fly for hundreds of thousands of miles. If he used the wind evasion technique, his speed would be doubled, but he could only fly for about 3,000 miles. Eagles had excellent eyesight, not to mention this Grey Rock. Wang Daoyuan's heaven-peering art was far inferior to it. The Grey Rock also had an innate spell related to its eyes. When it cast it could see things the size of an ordinary person within 10,000 miles. Wang Daoyuan's panoramic perception avatar, the Grey Rock, searched for traces of demonic beasts. Sure enough, a few thousand miles to the east, he discovered a battle between a demonic beast and a human. He controlled the Grey Rock to immediately fly towards the battle. When he got closer, he realized that they were all familiar faces. There were 2 5th-order demonic beasts here, a drake and a mixed-blood rock. There was also a 5th-order giant python lying on the ground. These 3 fellows were the first 3 rank 5 demonic beasts to appear. The ones fighting against them were Daoist Thunder Flame, Daoist Shantian, Daoist Ink Scales, and the others. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan had arrived, Daoist Ink Scales shouted, "Daoyuan, don't worry about what's happening here. Some rank 4 demonic beasts have fled over. Quickly go and stop them. A county in the state of Qin has been trampled, and millions of people have died. The soaring dragon county in the east is densely populated with tens of millions of people. The black ice tortoise is already ahead, but it's too slow to stop many demonic beasts. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan didn't stay any longer and quickly headed east. He sensed the location of the black ice tortoise. This fellow was blocking a group of rank 4 demonic beasts at the Jingchuan River more than 3,000 miles to the southeast. Many demonic beasts fled into the water to hide. The Jingchuan River was dozens of miles wide. It ran through the territory of the state of Qin from west to east and finally converged into the Wanchuan River. These fellows fled along the Jingchuan River to the Wanchuan River. They would be in big trouble. He released the soul-chasing bees to search for traces of demonic beasts within a radius of tens of thousands of miles. He controlled the gray rock to move closer to the black ice tortoise. At the Jingchuan River, the black ice tortoise was blocking more than a dozen rank 4 demonic beasts. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and shot out more than a dozen sword chi, killing all of these demonic beasts. Through the black ice tortoise's memory, a rank 5 low-grade demonic beast fled into the water. This demonic beast looked like an eagle, but it had horns on its head. There was this fellow in the gray rock's memory. His name was Chongdiao, and it was also a kind of Archean demonic beast. Although this fellow looked like an eagle, its flying ability was not very strong. Instead, it was good at swimming. Wang Daoyuan immediately launched his supernatural power and flew downstream along the Jingchuan River. Within the range of his supernatural power, most of the demonic beasts had nowhere to hide. 2 hours later, Wang Daoyuan flew to the southeast of the state of Qin. He saw that the Jingchuan River converged into a large river more than 100 miles wide. This river was the Wanchuan River. Along the way, he killed 30 to 40 rank 4 demonic beasts, but he still didn't find any trace of the Chongdiao. After entering the Wanchuan River, he didn't have to worry about the rank 4 demonic beasts. There were many rank 4 demonic beasts in the river. These outsiders couldn't make big waves. But the Chongdiao, a rank 5 demonic beast, was always a huge threat. Although it was not good at fighting, it was very good at hiding in the water. There were many tributaries of the Wanchuan River. It was almost impossible to find it. Wang Daoyuan had to send a message to the others, asking them to inform the forces along the river to be careful of the demonic beast's sneak attack. He also sent a message to Zhou Wan through the channels of Blood Shadow and Magic Weapon Pavilion, asking her to be careful of the Chongdiao. He didn't have to worry too much about the clan. There were 4 Yuanying warriors, and one of them was a rank 5 upper-grade sword puppet. If the Chongdiao dared to go there, it would be courting death. But if he let it escape into the sea, it might cause a lot of trouble. He left the Jingchuan River and wiped out the scattered rank 4 demonic beasts according to the situation detected by the soul-chasing bees. After 3 days, they met in the soaring dragon county of the state of Qin. When they came to the city lord's mansion, Taoist Mo Lin's face was not very good. This time, the state of Qin lost nearly 10 million mortals and more than 100,000 cultivators. The archaic mystery sect had fewer people, but they also lost tens of thousands of cultivators. Among the cultivators lost, there were more than 30 golden core cultivators. Almost all the properties of the archaic mystery sect were destroyed by the demonic beasts. They killed more than 300 rank 4 demonic beasts and 3 rank 5 demonic beasts. Most of the demonic beasts that fled to the east were basically killed. Only 1 rank 5 lower grade Chongdiao escaped into the Wanchuan River and disappeared. The Chongdiao is good at controlling water, and it is difficult to find it in the water. We have also informed the forces to monitor the situation in the water. 3 rank 5 demonic beasts fled to the west and have returned to the West Sea. We have to guard against the archaic mystery sect. Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, according to the memory of Hui Peng, this group of demonic beasts hid in several secret realms in the depths of the West Sea. There are rank 5 spiritual veins in the secret realms. It is close to the end of the world, and there is a black aura similar to the heaven's end abyss. This black aura will quickly transform into a special spiritual energy, which is very suitable for the cultivation of the ancient demonic beasts. But in the past few hundred years, the depths of the West Sea have become unstable, and space cracks often appear. Even if it is a rank 5 demonic beast, as long as it touches a space crack, it will be seriously injured or even killed. Coincidentally, rank 5 spiritual veins are about to appear in Beiyuan Xiuxian. They want to leave the West Sea and see some land. Moreover, the land is extremely vast. It is hard to say how many rank 5 demonic beasts there are. Once these words were said, Venerable Lei Yen was slightly worried. If that is the case, the West Sea could be attacked by demonic beasts at any time. We cannot retreat so easily, and have to continue guarding the archaic mystery sect. We killed a total of 8 demonic beasts this time, and the corpses of Cheongqi and Snake Xiu should be returned to Daoyuan. As for the other 6 demonic beasts cores, each of our 6 clans will have one. Each clan will send out a half-step Yuanying cultivator to prepare to break through to the Yuanying stage. Without rank 5 spiritual energy, cultivators who can cultivate to the half-step Yuanying stage are all dragons and phoenixes among men. Furthermore, they have been stuck at the half-step Yuanying stage for several hundred years, and have accumulated enough. With rank 5 demonic cores and inherited magic artifacts, the possibility of successfully passing the tribulation is very high. If we can have more Yuanying cultivators, we will have more confidence in resisting the demonic beasts. Chapter 8:18. The demonic beasts were temporarily repelled, and everyone had a chance to break through the Yuanying barrier. Naturally, they had no objections. The most suitable place to break through the Yuanying tribulation was the Tianji sect's territory. After all, it was a sect that had been passed down since ancient times. It had an extremely good location to undergo the tribulation. Everyone headed towards Tianji sect. On the way, Wang Daoyuan received Zhou Wan's reply. The replies from the Blood Shadow and the Divine Weapon Pavilion were sent back one after another. The contents were exactly the same. Zhou Wan had already made preparations to guard against the Chongqiao. It seemed that Blood Shadow was rather obedient and did not intercept the message midway. At this moment, there were no longer any traces of demonic beasts in the Celestial Arcanum sect's territory. According to the Grey Rock's memories, the place where these demonic beasts usually stayed was over 1,000,000 miles away from the shore. In ancient times, even soul formation cultivators didn't dare to go there. It might not be so dangerous now, but Wang Daoyuan didn't want to risk it. It would be better to wait until he reached the Mahayana realm and was able to ignore spatial rifts. There was spiritual chi there that was similar to the spiritual chi at the beginning of the world. If he could get some of it, he might be able to awaken Dahai's bloodline and restore the divine power of his ancestor, the Heavenly Dog. When they reached the Tianji sect, Daoist Shen Tian took out a token and handed it to Wang Daoyuan. Martial nephew Daoyuan, this is the token to open the Tianji Tower. Back then, the Heavenly Mystery Tower was led by my ancestor and built by many powerful beings. This was also a treasure trove of the entire human race. All cultivators who had contributed greatly to the human race were qualified to enter the Heaven's Mystery Tower. Later on, Beiyuan was relatively peaceful. Only the 4 top forces and the Zhou nation were qualified to enter the Heavenly Mystery Tower. 10,000 years ago, during the demonic chaos, some meritorious officials entered the Heavenly Mystery Tower. The Qin and Zhao nations also had the qualifications to enter. Now that the Wang family had established the Yan country, although their foundation was still shallow, their strength was already extremely strong. They guarded the sky/mountain range and the Eastern Sea, and they had made great contributions. In the future, the Yan kingdom would be like one of the 4 top forces. As the protector of the human race, you should have the right to enter the Heavenly Mystery Tower. Wang Daoyuan didn't decline. These were all good things that could increase the family's foundation. Naturally, he couldn't give them up so easily. Moreover, the status of the Yan kingdom had been recognized. It had replaced the position of the Valley of Beasts and became the force guarding the east of Beiyuan. The Zhou nation had pursued this position for tens of thousands of years but had never succeeded. Then Daoist Shen cupped his hands and said to everyone, "I reckon that Dao Yu still needs to adjust before he reaches the nascent soul realm. You can go to the back of the mountain to adjust." Then he said to Shen Jiuxiao, "Jiuxiao, I'll leave the sect's affairs to you. If there are any traces of demons, hand them over to Adept Lei Yan." Shen Jiuxiao cupped his hands in acknowledgement. Then Daoist Shen Tian led a few half-step Yuanying cultivators to the back of the mountain. Wang Daoyuan released the Black Ice Tortoise and the Grey Rock to guard against the demonic beast sneak attacks. He then entered the Heaven's Mystery Tower again. Last time at Demon Sealing Emperor's place, he had improved his control over spiritual energy. Using divine abilities to cast spells of other attributes was not weak either. Now it was time to upgrade his cultivation method. Ever since he reached the nascent soul realm, he had been thinking about turning the 5-element spirit seeds into Yuanying's 5 internal organs. However, he did not have any clue and did not dare to act rashly. After all, Jiaqi's clone was quite rare and could not be wasted. Entering the 6th floor of the Heaven's Mystery Tower, there were a lot of soul crystals here. There were about 70 to 80 of them. Wang Daoyuan looked at the annotations beside the soul crystals one by one. There were as many as 10 5 elements cultivation methods. It seemed that the higher the cultivation level, the greater the advantage of the 5 spirit roots. Wang Daoyuan looked at the 5 elements cultivation methods and finally chose the Blood Spirit Divine Venerable's inheritance. Although the Blood Spirit Divine Venerable's title was somewhat like that of an evil cultivator, he was truly a righteous cultivator. He got this title not because he used blood essence to cultivate, but because his blood essence and spiritual energy cultivation were at the top for a time. The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable walked the path of body refinement, which was to fuse the spirit roots with the 5 internal organs. To be able to fuse the spirit roots with the 5 internal organs, he must have a deep understanding of the 5 internal organs. If he wanted to turn the spirit seeds into internal organs, he would need some guidance. Wang Daoyuan sat on the futon and probed the soul crystals with his divine sense. Soon he appeared in a valley. On the valley's ground and the cliffs on both sides, there were traces of punches and kicks everywhere. A burly man with a height of 12 feet descended from the sky. This person's blood essence was extremely powerful. Even those half-divine beasts' blood essence fluctuations paled in comparison to his. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly bowed and said, "Junior greets the Divine Lord." The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable waved his hand and said, "There's no need for those complicated formalities. Your physical body is not weak. The cultivation method you cultivate is also a bit interesting. It seems to have borrowed from the true dragon body tempering technique and the Guiyuan sword immortal's inheritance. The sword intent you cultivate is also the Guiyuan sword intent. In addition, there's another cultivation method that is a bit interesting. Although it's not too brilliant, I have never seen it before. Your inheritance is not bad. There's no need to learn my blood spirit primordial technique." Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Junior is indeed not here to learn the blood spirit primordial technique. I just want to improve my cultivation method. I have some ideas but I don't know how to improve them, so I wanted to ask for your advice." The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable smiled and said, "If you have any doubts, feel free to ask. The only value I have left here is to answer the questions of the outstanding juniors of the human race." Wang Daoyuan explained the situation of the 5 spirit immortal art and his idea of transforming the 5 spirit seeds into the 5 internal organs of Yuanying. The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable was also a bit surprised. "Junior, you're quite lucky to be able to find all the 5 elemental spiritual fires. Even Mahayana cultivators can do this. If I could find all the 5 elemental spiritual fires back then and merge them into the 5 internal organs, the Blood Spirit Primordial technique would definitely be able to advance to the Earth Immortal realm. I fused my spirit roots into the 5 internal organs. When I reach the Yuanying realm, my spirit force and blood essence can be transformed. Ordinary cultivators can only transform their spirit sense, blood essence and spirit force when they reach the soul formation realm. However, the transformation of my blood essence is basically unrestricted. A large amount of spirit force can be transformed into blood essence to strengthen the body. Back then, I could be said to be the best in the Qianyuan realm in terms of physical strength. Even Earth Immortals could not be compared to me." Wang Daoyuan was a bit surprised. He was also a body refiner, so he naturally knew what it meant to transform spirit force into blood essence. With the divine power, he could guarantee that his spirit force was unlimited. If he could transform it into blood essence at will, with unlimited blood essence, the growth of his body would be extremely terrifying. The Blood Spirit Divinity continued, "This idea of yours is similar to my blood spirit primordial art. In particular, the spirit seed is very interesting. If you use ordinary spirit objects to form a spirit seed, it will only be at the level of a third-rate cultivation technique. However, you can use spirit fire to form a spirit seed and have the potential to cultivate to the Earth Immortal realm. Cultivating the internal organs inside the Yuanying will make the Yuanying closer to a real life and have a greater advantage in comprehending the laws. Many people have this idea but they have not succeeded. You have the 5 elemental spiritual seeds as a foundation, so there is some hope. However, you need to use the spirit seed to transform the Yuanying's internal organs. This is much more difficult than my blood spirit primordial technique. If you succeed, your cultivation technique may be able to transform spirit force, blood essence and divine sense. I don't have much research on divine sense, so I can't help you. However, I can help you deduce the transformation between spirit force and blood essence. Summon the Yuanying and I will look at the structure of the spirit seed. Try to preserve the functions of the spirit seed and let it display the functions of the 5 internal organs." Wang Daoyuan summoned the Yuanying. The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable's eyes flashed with blood-red light as he inspected the spirit seed. After a long time he said, "The structure of this spirit seed is very ingenious, but there are many places where it does not conform to the laws. It is ingenious and crude. It should be the result of a low-level cultivator's union of heaven and man. It is not realistic to want to directly transform it into internal organs and ensure its functions. It is better to use the essence of spirit fire to recondense the 5 internal organs and use the spirit seed to nurture the corresponding internal organs. This way, the spirit seed and the 5 internal organs can be preserved, and the difficulty will be greatly reduced. Chapter 8:19. Divine Blood Spirit was indeed a Mahayana cultivator. He only needed to examine the structure of the spirit power seed to guess its origin. Wang Daoyuan nodded. This spirit power seed was created by my master. When he was at the Violet Palace realm, he gained inspiration from becoming one with the world and gradually perfected it. He failed to break through to the Yuanying realm, so he couldn't perfect the spirit power seed. After I reached the Yuanying realm, I was constantly on the brink of death and didn't have much time to perfect the spirit power seed. It's really rare for a Violet Palace realm and Golden Core realm cultivator to create such a cultivation method. I'll try to use this spirit power seed as a foundation to establish the 5 viscera and blood vessels, so that they can reach a preliminary cycle. As for the deeper levels, I can't do anything. To continue improving, you need a deep understanding of the cultivation method. Without personally cultivating it, it won't be of much use. If you want to improve, you can only rely on yourself to slowly deduce. With that, he began to use the surrounding spirit chi to imitate the structure of the spirit power seed. Then he drew out spirit chi from the spirit power seed and condensed it into a structure similar to the 5 viscera. Then he used something similar to blood vessels and meridians to connect the 5 viscera. The spirit power seed didn't directly participate in the cycle between the 5 viscera. It only provided power for the 5 viscera. After a few days it finally took shape. Divine Blood Spirit was quite satisfied with the model in front of him. I can only do this much. This should be able to achieve the basic transformation between spirit power and blood chi. It can also make the Yuanying closer to a complete life, and its future potential should be greater. As for the transformation of spirit power, I don't have the ability to do that. Moreover, I didn't hear of any of my old friends studying this thing. After all, at the Mahayana realm, there is the tribulation of the 3 blights. The main focus is on the fusion of spirit power, and blood chi. Once completely fused, these 3 powers will become immortal power, and you will be able to break through to the earth immortal realm. At that time, no one will care if it can be transformed again. In this illusion, even if there is a problem with cultivation, it won't harm your body. You can boldly try it. As for how to improve in the future, it's up to you. The Guiyuan record also recorded the fusion of spirit power, and blood chi into one and turning into immortal power. At that point, all of his energy would be focused on immortal energy. Indeed, there would not be a problem of conversion. Immortal power was also the best method to resist the 3rd decay tribulation. As long as one had enough immortal power, they could withstand the 3rd decay tribulation. Wang Daoyuan was only in the mid-stage of Yuanying, so immortal energy was still too far away. He summoned the Yuanying out of his body. Under the guidance of the blood spirit divinity, he extracted the flame essence from the spiritual seed and condensed the embryonic form of the 5 internal organs. It took him more than a month to condense all his internal organs and meridians. He tried to circulate his spiritual energy and convert it into blood essence. In the end, if it wasn't the embryonic form of his internal organs that had problems, then it was the meridians that had problems. His Yuanying had directly shattered several times, and cracks had appeared dozens of times. Fortunately, they were in an illusion. Any damage could be healed immediately. Otherwise, even 10 lives wouldn't be enough. With a Mahayana cultivator like Divine Blood Spirit around, any problems could be quickly identified and corrected. After staying in the dreamland for 3 years, he finally improved a cultivation method that could be practiced normally. Now he could directly convert spiritual energy into blood essence, but the conversion efficiency was still somewhat low. According to Divine Blood Spirit, using the same amount of spiritual energy, the amount of blood essence converted was more than 3 times that of Wang Daoyuan. This was normal. Divine Blood Spirit had improved his martial arts for who knows how many years. It was definitely much stronger than this hastily developed cultivation method. Wang Daoyuan didn't care. As long as he released the spiritual fire, he could quickly obtain a large amount of spiritual energy. Taking unlimited things and converting them into limited and urgently needed things was naturally a profit. Soon his divine sense exited the dreamland. He took some 7-leaf ghost-faced flower dew and recovered his divine sense. Then he began to practice the improved cultivation method. Yuanying entered the space of the spiritual pearl and began to condense the 5 internal organs and simple blood vessels and meridians. At this time, on the river near Qingli County's Wanchuan Market, rank 4 monsters began to become active. The defensive formation of the market had been opened. Jia Qi, the sword cultivator puppet, Wang Shui, and Wang Daojian were all in the market, preparing to deal with the Chongdiao. As time passed, there were more and more monsters outside. Some monsters even tried to attack the formation. Jia Qi said, "These monsters are too rampant. I'll go out and give them a hard time." Wang Shui hurriedly dissuaded. Previously, the rank 4 monsters were already obedient. Now that they took the initiative to come out and seek death, there must be a rank 5 monster behind them. Dao Yuan sent a message that there is a rank 5 primordial beast escaping along the Wanchuan River from the West Sea. Must be that guy. We can't judge the strength of the primordial beast. This beast didn't come out most likely because it wants to rely on these rank 4 monsters to consume our strength. Moreover, Dao Yuan has been guessing that there must be hidden rank 5 monsters in the East Sea, Wanchuan River, and Sky/Mountain Range. If the Chongdiao colluded with the hidden rank 5 monsters and acted rashly, they may be surrounded and killed. The enemy's situation is not clear. Don't act rashly. Wang Daoyuan was not by his side. Jia Qi's actions were more controlled by his personality. This guy was also a bit rash. Before Wang Daoyuan left, he had ordered him to listen to the 12th uncle and Zhou Luan. Now that the 12th uncle had spoken, he had no objections. However, the monsters would not just wait. Seeing that their provocation failed, most of the monsters began to attack the formation. A few monsters even went around the Wanchuan Market and headed north. The Wanchuan Market was at the mouth of Qingli River. The market's formation had already been opened. It was impossible for the monsters to use the river water to sneak over. After going around the Wanchuan Market, they had to go ashore. Near the Wanchuan Market. When the Zhao clan revived the country, the 6th prince occupied the Wanchuan Market. Most of the local clans were wiped out. Now, more than 90% of the spirit veins and various industries in the south of Qingli County belong to the Wang clan. If the monsters went around, the Wang clan's losses would be great. Jia Qi was a bit anxious. Why don't I go out? If I continue to let the monsters roam free, the losses will be too great. Wang Shui still shook his head. I don't care about a few rank 4 monsters. Jia Qi, you control the formation here and attack the monsters nearby. As for the monsters that go ashore, I'll deal with them. A group of aquatic monsters could not exert much strength away from the river. Wang Daojian also stood up. My aptitude is not very good. It is all thanks to 7th brother's help that I am where I am today. Now that I have comprehended the Guiyuan sword intent, killing a few rank 4 monsters on the shore is nothing. After saying that, the two left the market together and intercepted the monsters that went ashore. Those that dared to go ashore were at least rank 4 upper-grade monsters. The two's cultivation was still too low. However, these monsters fought on their own without the slightest cooperation. The two stared at a monster that looked like a catfish. Wang Shui condensed a 1,000-feet-long water dragon and directly entangled the catfish. The catfish had rank 4 upper-grade cultivation and looked down on Wang Shui. A mere golden core middle stage dares to court death. Wang Daojian took out a simple long sword and condensed the demon-slaying sword, slashing at the catfish. The catfish frantically swung its tail, trying to break free from the water dragon. But the water dragon tightened its grip. It was abnormally terrified. This is a minor theurgy? Just as it finished speaking, the demon-slaying sword landed on its body. Its fat body was cut in two by the demon-slaying sword and quickly lost its vitality. Wang Daojian was a bit surprised. 12th uncle, when did you comprehend a minor theurgy? What is it? Wang Shui answered, I just comprehended it not long ago. It is the same as the old ancestors' minor theurgy, which is also water manipulation. In the scripture pavilion, there are the essences of theurgy that Daoyuan left behind. There are methods to comprehend minor theurgies. You can go and try. Chapter 820. The two of them quickly set their sights on their next target. It was a Tier 4 high-grade monster fish. There was nothing strange about its body, but it had a pair of wings. As they flew, they even created huge waves in the Wanchuan River. If Wang Daoyuan was here, he would be able to recognize that this was one of the primordial beasts, the Luo fish. This fellow's minor divine ability was also water manipulation. However, its ability to borrow water power to fight was not very good. At most, it could cause a flood. The primordial mutant beast must have come from the West Sea. If it wasn't for this minor divine ability, it wouldn't have survived until now. Wang Shui's water dragon merged into the waves created by the Luo fish and swam towards it. Soon the water dragon swept past Luo Yu's back. With a flick of its tail, the huge wave behind it changed direction and took the water dragon elsewhere. Wang Shui controlled the water dragon and left the giant wave. Wang Daojian swung his sword at Luo Yu. Wang Daojian's sword didn't have anything special about it, but there were some fluctuations of spiritual power on the surface. Luo Yu saw that his cultivation was low and did not think much of it. With a flap of its wings, a water column with a diameter of 1 zhang separated from the huge wave and headed straight for Chu Li. However, he did not expect Wang Daojian's sword to be so ridiculously powerful that it could pierce through the water pillar. After piercing through the water column, an astonishing killing intent erupted from the long sword. Luo Yu turned pale with fright and hurriedly dodged, but one of his wings was still sliced off. Seeing that his attack was successful, Zhang Xian chased after him once more. Luo Yu didn't dare to fight anymore and fled into the Wanchuan River with the huge wave. Wang Shui controlled the water dragon to chase after it, but it was blocked by the huge waves, allowing the Luo fish to successfully escape into the river. Now that this primordial mutated beast had been defeated, the other demonic beasts grew timid. They didn't dare to venture deeper into the land and retreated into the myriad rivers. Wang Shui was shocked. Daojian, your strength has increased dramatically in the past few years. I'm no longer your match. Wang Daojian smiled and said, it was seventh brother who left me some sword cultivation legacy. After I changed my cultivation technique, my strength increased greatly. He even left me a sword intent, allowing me to comprehend the Beiyuan sword intent. My strength is weaker than yours, but this strange fish is distracted by you. Otherwise it would be very difficult for my sword to hurt it. That's not easy either. An early golden core stage cultivator can injure a 4th-tier upper-grade demonic beast. His strength is far beyond his peers. The two of them did not dare to stay outside for long. They put away the carcass of the catfish they had killed earlier and quickly returned to Wanchuan Market. At this time, a portion of spiritual energy was split off from the defensive barrier of the market and turned into 3 giant sharks. The 3 sharks opened their bloody mouths and bit at the 3 demonic beasts. This was Jia Qi's method. It was easy to deal with rank 4 demonic beasts, and the 3 demonic beasts were instantly killed. The giant shark still had plenty of energy left and continued to attack the other demonic beasts. The demonic beasts quickly hid and left the Wanchuan Market. The giant shark was summoned with the help of the array formation, so it couldn't stray too far from the array formation. Therefore, it didn't give chase and returned to the defensive light barrier. The demonic beasts were still gathered 200 miles downstream of Wanchuan Market. They didn't dare to approach, but they didn't disperse either. The two sides continued to be in a stalemate. The Wang family members didn't dare to enter the river, and the demonic beasts didn't dare to come ashore. At this moment, in the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda, Wang Daoyuan was condensing the 5 organs in Yuanying's body. This was not an experiment, so he was even more careful. He slowly drew out the spiritual fire essence from the 5 spiritual energy seeds and condensed the 5 organs. The kidneys were extremely important. There were 2 more, so it was more difficult to condense them. At the same time, he drew out the spiritual fire essence from the water spiritual energy seed and condensed 2 kidneys that were less than an inch long. The 2 kidneys were connected to the spiritual energy seed at the same time. There were also 2 lungs, which were condensed from the spiritual fire essence of the Tai golden flames. After the 5 organs were formed, he drew out the spiritual fire essence and condensed something similar to blood vessels and meridians to connect the 5 organs. Half a year passed in the space. The 5 organs, simple blood vessels, and meridians were all condensed. Yuanying returned to his body and circulated the improved 5 spirits immortal transformation technique. After the spiritual energy was refined by the spiritual fire, it quickly entered Yuanying. After passing through the spiritual energy seeds, it entered Yuanying's 5 organs and circulated continuously in his 5 organs. After the spiritual energy was converted by the 5 organs, it was continuously converted into qi and blood energy. Wang Daoyuan guided the qi and blood energy into his body and performed the body tempering part of the technique. Just circulating the technique for 2 hours was equivalent to a day's effect. There were no problems during the circulation process. On the other hand, Yuanying was more agile and did not look any different from a real baby. Previously, Divine Venerable Blood Spirit had said that he did not cultivate this technique and could only help deduce it. He had already reached his limit. He could not help with any further improvements, so there was no need for him to enter again. After staying in the Heavenly Mystery Tower for a few days, it was time to go out and take a look. He also took a look at the Sword Immortal Legacy in the Heavenly Mystery Tower and discovered that it did not belong to Sword Immortal Beiyuan. In that case, there was not much point in using it as a reference. No matter how brilliant the sword intent of other sword cultivators was, it could only be a small branch of his own sword intent. After leaving the Heavenly Mystery Tower, he received a message from Zhou Luan. This message was sent from Blood Shadow and the Divine Weapon Pavilion, and it explained the situation at Wanchuan Market. Wang Daoyuan was rather gratified. The 12th uncle had a minor divine power and could be considered an expert. Wang Daojian made him even more overjoyed. The Purple Mansion phenomenon was the sword of Beiyuan. Cultivating the sword of Beiyuan was like having divine help. In just a few years he had integrated the sword of Beiyuan. Wanchuan Market was very stable, so he had nothing to worry about. Tribulation clouds covered more than 150 kilometers north of the Heavenly Mystery Tower. This should be a half-step Yuanying cultivator who had successfully formed his nascent soul and was about to undergo the Yuanying Heavenly Tribulation. In order to avoid disturbing the person undergoing the tribulation, he did not use his divine perception to check. The 6 people who were attempting to form their nascent souls were probably the sect masters of the 4 top factions and the retired emperors of Zhou and Qin. They all had inherited Dharma artifacts, so the heavenly tribulation would not affect them much. The only threat was the final divine power tribulation. However, they had all accumulated it for hundreds of years. The success rate of forming their nascent souls and transcending the tribulation was much higher than that of ordinary cultivators. Wang Daoyuan could not help with these matters, so he entered the Heavenly Mystery Tower to improve his alchemy skills. In the space of the Spirit Pearl, he had already harvested a batch of spirit herbs for the nascent cultivating pill and the 9 Death Soul Return pill. His alchemy skills had been stuck at superior grade Tier 4 and could not refine Tier 5 pills. With a divine artifact like the Heavenly Mystery Tower, he felt that it would be a loss if he did not reap more benefits. After entering the first level of the Heavenly Mystery Tower, the alchemy inheritance was mostly the same, but the methods were slightly different. It did not matter which senior he learned from. He casually found a futon and sat down. The information of the inheritance was written next to the soul crystal in front of him. The owner of this inheritance was called the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable. From the name, one could tell that this senior's alchemy techniques were very unique. He used his divine perception to probe the soul crystal and saw an alchemy room in front of him. There were 2 fire pits on the ground and each of them had a pill furnace. Wang Daoyuan was sitting cross-legged in front of one pill furnace, and a thin old man was sitting next to the other pill furnace. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly stood up and bowed. "Greetings, senior." The Thousand Hands Divine Venerable replied, "No need to be so polite. Since you are here to learn alchemy, you can refine a cauldron of pills first. In this illusion you can refine whatever pill you want, and the raw materials will automatically appear." Previously, when he was in the Sea of 7 Stars, he refined the most high-grade Tier 4 Beast Blood Heavenly Pill. With a thought, the raw materials for the Beast Blood Heavenly Pill appeared in his hand. Using these raw materials, he quickly refined a cauldron of pills, producing 5 pills. The Thousand Hands Divine Venerable nodded. "Not bad. Your divine perception is strong enough, and your alchemy foundation is very solid. It's just that your alchemy technique is too crude. This old man's name is the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable. In terms of technique, there are very few alchemists who can match me. In the past, I refined Tier 8 pills for earthly immortals, so I can be considered a Tier 8 alchemist. I will demonstrate it to you once. After you learn my technique, you should be able to try refining Tier 5 low-grade pills." After saying that, the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable began refining the Beast Blood Heavenly Pill. His technique was worthy of his name. Whether it was processing spiritual herbs or condensing pill veins, his speed was extremely fast. With Wang Daoyuan's cultivation, he could barely see the technique. In just a quarter of an hour, a cauldron of pills was formed. Chapter 821. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable smiled and said, "I've already slowed down as much as possible. With your spiritual sense cultivation, you should be able to see my technique. Use my technique to refine again. I want to see how your talent is. First learn my alchemy technique, then try to refine several furnaces of pills at the same time. This old man can refine more than a dozen pills in one furnace at the same time. It's enough for you to learn a little bit." Wang Daoyuan quickly began to refine pills, imitating Thousand Hands Divine Venerable's technique. It took him half a day to refine a furnace of pills, producing 5 pills. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable nodded and said, "Not bad. With a new technique, the time is shortened a lot and it won't affect the success rate. Refine a few furnaces of pills, and when you produce 6 pills, you can try to refine a 5th-tier pill." Wang Daoyuan nodded, and the formed pills disappeared as he continued to refine. Since he started to refine pills, he had always felt his way across the river. No one had ever guided him. Now that he had the guidance of an ancient almighty, his progress was naturally fast. 5 days later he was able to refine pills in 2 hours, producing 6 pills in 1 furnace. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable smiled and said, "The child is worth teaching. Now you can try to refine a 5th-tier pill. What pill do you want to refine? I'll teach you first." Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Junior wants to refine a 9-death soul returning pill." Thousand Hands Divine Venerable began to refine, and while processing the pills he also explained every step to pay attention to. After demonstrating once, Wang Daoyuan began to refine. It took him 4 hours to successfully refine a cauldron of medicinal pills. The first time he refined he produced 2 pills. After a few more attempts the success rate reached 3 pills, and he could be considered a 5th-tier alchemist. Wang Daoyuan spent more than a month and was able to refine 2 furnaces of pills at the same time. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable's alchemy technique could be considered to have reached the entry level. To improve his alchemy level he needed a lot of practice, and it was impossible to go further in a short time. He bid farewell to Thousand Hands Divine Venerable and left the dreamland. Now that his alchemy had improved, it was time to improve his other techniques. The second level was refining. Although Wang Daoyuan didn't need to improve his refining skills as soon as possible, he needed to improve the Spirit Gathering Pearl. Before he left Beiyuan, his master had improved the spiritual energy stored in 1 spiritual gathering pearl. The amount of spiritual energy stored in 1 spiritual gathering pearl was roughly equivalent to 2 upper-level spiritual stones. It wasn't a problem to use it to power a Tier 5 flying ship, but it wasn't enough to power a battle puppet. Wang Daoyuan's sword puppet was equipped with 3 spirit gathering pearls. If he fought with all his strength he could only hold on for half an hour. Once they encountered a strong enemy it would not be enough. Just like the current situation in Wanchuan Market, the sword puppets didn't dare to make a move. If the spiritual gathering pearl had enough spiritual energy, it could fight for 2 hours. The demonic beasts around Wanchuan Market would not be enough for the sword puppet to practice on. Arriving on the 2nd floor, Zhang Xian took a look at the various legacies and found quite a few legacies regarding the forging of flying warships. The forces in Beiyuan that could refine Tier 4 flying warships just happened to have the qualifications to enter this place. Wang Daoyuan searched for a while and sat down on a futon. The owner of this legacy was called Supreme Divinity Tianzhou. Just by looking at this title he knew that the level of forging flying ships was extremely high. It was a good opportunity to learn both forging and array formations. Entering it with his divine sense, Zhang Xian found that this illusion was a forging room with a sturdy old man inside. Wang Daoyuan quickly bowed. "Greetings, senior." Supreme Divinity Tianzhou waved his hand. "No need to be so polite. How are your forging and array formations?" "Low-grade Tier 5 blacksmith and high-grade Tier 4 array master. I once forged a mid-grade Tier 4 flying warship on my own." His array formation cultivation was completely trained by repairing flying ships. When returning from the Sea of 7 Stars, although there weren't many problems with the high-grade Tier 5 flying ship, there were many minor problems. He often used array formations so his level had improved a little. Divine Sovereign Tianzhou nodded. It's not easy for someone so young to have such attainments in both the Tao of artifact refining and array formation. The spirit power conversion device of a Tier 4 flying warship requires a large number of law inscriptions. It's very difficult to forge it on your own. Since you can forge a mid-grade Tier 4 flying warship on your own, it seems that your talent isn't bad. Wang Daoyuan was a little confused. "Senior, are you talking about those inscriptions that look like pill, tool, and array inscriptions but aren't exactly the same?" "It's those inscriptions. They are the manifestation of law. Yuanian cultivators' understanding of law is still too shallow. If you want to understand law inscriptions, you need to be at least in the soul formation realm. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too low so you can only learn some minor things. How about this? You can learn how to forge a low-grade Tier 5 flying ship from me. This way your forging and array formation skills can improve. It's difficult to understand a Tier 5 spirit power conversion device, but it's not difficult to make one." Wang Daoyuan learned how to forge a Tier 5 flying ship from Supreme Divinity Tianzhou. It only took him a year to forge a Tier 5 spirit power conversion device and raise his array formation skills to low-grade Tier 5 flying ship. This surprised Supreme Divinity Tianzhou. Although a Tier 5 spirit power conversion device isn't much different from a Tier 4 flying ship, you are able to forge one in such a short time. But for you to be able to refine it in such a short time, your talent is indeed not bad. After learning this and practicing more, you can even forge a high-grade Tier 5 flying ship. You won't be able to understand anything more profound, so that's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Wang Daoyuan engraved the refining method of the spirit gathering pearl in the illusion. Senior, this is a magic tool refining method I obtained in my early years. This magic tool is called the spirit gathering pearl. It can absorb spirit energy and convert it into spirit power. After many improvements, it has reached this level. I can use this thing to power the flying ship and puppets. It can save a lot of spirit stones and it won't be a problem for me to travel across the sea. However, the amount of spirit power it can store is too little. It's still a bit lacking when used on battle puppets. Junior's talent is shallow, and I'm still far from being able to improve it on my own. I'd like to ask Senior to help improve this thing so that it can store more spirit power. Supreme Divinity Tianzhou carefully examined the refining method of the spirit gathering pearl and nodded. This thing is not bad. In the past, there were many similar magic tools in the Qinyuan realm. The main purpose is to save spirit stones. After all, spirit stones are produced too slowly and can't supply a large number of cultivators. However, the speed at which this thing transforms spirit energy into spirit power is too slow. It can only be used on Tier 4 or Tier 5 magic tools. Factions without high-grade spirit veins can't use this thing. Your spirit gathering pearl uses a multi-layered refining method. It's rather brilliant, but the refining method is also more complicated. I can help you improve it to a Tier 5 magic tool. With nomological inscriptions instead of tool patterns, the spirit power it can store should be about 10 times that of a high-grade spirit stone. However, this thing is already at its limit. Don't try to improve it. As for the reason, you will naturally understand when you reach the soul formation realm. Saying too much now will only affect your state of mind. Since Mahayana cultivators were so secretive, it most likely involved the heavenly Tao. With Wang Daoyuan's mid-stage Yuanying cultivation, it was better not to touch on this level. He did not dare to ask again. He cupped his hands and said, "In that case I'll have to trouble you, Senior." Supreme Divinity Tianzhou nodded and began to replace tool patterns with nomological inscriptions. As expected of a Mahayana cultivator, it only took him 5 days to finish improving the spirit gathering pearl. He also refined a Tier 5 low-grade spirit gathering pearl. He handed the spirit gathering pearl to Wang Daoyuan. The spirit power stored is equivalent to 10 high-grade spirit stones. If placed near a Tier 5 low-grade spirit vein, it will take 3 months to absorb the full amount of spirit power. Then the refining method condensed in the air. Previously, the method of dividing the spirit gathering pearl into multiple layers was good, but it was too complicated. Now that I'm using nomological inscriptions instead of tool patterns, the refining process is saved a lot. However, the difficulty of inscribing nomological inscriptions has increased a lot. Remember this refining method and don't casually improve it. Wang Daoyuan took the spirit gathering pearl. The amount of spirit power stored was 5 times more than before, and it did not increase in size. If it was used by the sword puppet, it would be able to fight at full strength for more than an hour. It was not afraid of a battle of attrition. At that moment, the Heaven's Mystery Tower suddenly closed. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly went out. Something big must have happened. Chapter 822. The moment Xiao Chen left the Heavenly Mystery Tower, he received a message from Zhou Luan. It was still from Blood Shadow and the Divine Weapon Pavilion. It wasn't that something major had happened to the Wang clan. The demonic beasts at the Wanchuan market still didn't have the guts to attack them. They only dared to harass them in the river. This news came from the Linhai province. A large number of demonic beasts had gathered in the outer sea. Zhou Luan suspected that a 5th-ranked demonic beast had appeared in the outer sea. It was good that they hadn't made a move yet. There was still enough time to go back. Outside the Heavenly Mystery Tower, Daoist Shen was already waiting. He had already broken through to the Yuanying realm. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Congratulations on breaking through to Yuanying, Martial Uncle Shen. I wonder if the others have succeeded?" They're all cultivators with top-notch aptitudes to begin with, and with hundreds of years of accumulation, it's naturally not a problem. Apart from Taoist Mo Lin's legendary magic weapon being damaged during the Heavenly Tribulation, there were no other losses. The suzerains of the four top forces, including Taoist Windwing and Taoist Ink Scales, made up 6 Tribulation Transcendence cultivators. Only Taoist Ink Scale state of Qin had the shallowest foundation. Back then the state of Qin was just a small vassal state under the state of Zhou. The strongest cultivator they had was only a mid-stage Yuanian cultivator. Their magic artifacts were just ordinary. Now that the legacy artifacts grade had dropped to the 4th grade, it was normal for it to be unable to withstand the lightning tribulation. It wasn't a big deal for the magic tools to be damaged. Compared to Yuanian cultivators, level 5 magic tools were worthless. Taoist Master Shantian continued, I asked you to come out of seclusion this time because there are traces of rank 5 demonic beasts in several places in the sky/mountain range. Spiritual Master Lei Yen is worried that something might happen over there and has already returned to the Divine Weapon Pavilion to oversee things. It was fine as long as the family was safe. Even if a few demonic beasts were to cause trouble in other places, they wouldn't be able to cause too much trouble. Originally, he wanted to improve his talisman crafting skills in the Heaven's Mystery Tower. However, time was tight now. He could only come back in the future. Besides, he basically had no use for talismans now, so it didn't matter if he didn't learn them for the time being. I'll take Grey Rock with me. The Black Ice Tortoise will stay here and help fend off the West Sea monster race. Taoist Shen Tian shook his head and said, the demon beasts in the West Ocean have suffered heavy losses. There won't be any big movements in the near future. Now that there were 6 Yuanian cultivators standing guard, as well as the Yin-Yang Compass and the Heaven's Mystery Tower, there shouldn't be any problems for now. Take the Black Ice Tortoise with you. Back then, the Heavenly/Mountain Range was the demon race's nest. No one knows how many treasures they left behind. Maybe there will be more 5th-rank beasts. With the Ice Tortoise here we will have one more helper. There's no need. I'm at the Heavenly/Mountain Range. The battle prowess of a Black Ice Tortoise is insignificant. I won't be staying here for long in case anything happens at the Heavenly/Mountain Range. Goodbye. After he finished speaking, he withdrew a high-grade Grade 5 flying vessel, summoned the Grey Rock and headed east. With the Grey Rock as a mount, there was no need to worry about the mountain range blocking the way. If they encountered the Astral Wind Layer, they could just ride the Grey Rock and go straight through it. 5th-rank demonic beasts and Yuanian cultivators could stay in the Astral Winds for a long time. The Grey Rock was extremely fast, so there was no need to worry about wasting time. Soon, the flying boat arrived at the Broken Cloud Mountain on the eastern border of the state of Qin. This mountain range was also extremely tall. The peak of the mountain was deep within the Astral Wind Layer. Putting away the flying boat, he rode the Grey Rock and flew directly to the Astral Wind Layer. The last time he entered the Astral Wind Layer was before leaving Beiyuan to help the Tai Sword sect repair the Tai Divine Sword. At that time he didn't feel anything when riding the flying warship. Now riding the Grey Rock, he had a very intuitive feeling of the Astral Wind Layer. The 9 Heavens Astral Wind didn't have a fixed wind direction, but it changed at any time. A gust of wind blew like countless sharp blades cutting on the body. If it wasn't a body refinement cultivator, it was impossible to guarantee that he would be unharmed in the astral wind. However, the Grey Rock didn't care. It was of the wind attribute. It could easily control the astral wind and increase its flying speed. After crossing the Broken Cloud Mountain, he put the Grey Rock into the spiritual pearl space to recover his spiritual power and took out the flying boat again. In less than 3 days, the Heavenly/Mountain Range was already in sight. He still wanted to ambush the demon race, so he put away the flying boat, hid his figure and quietly went over. The demon race had always wanted to fish out the Yuanying fighting force from the Wang family, so Wang Daoyuan beat them at their own game. The rank 4 demon beasts were still probing the defensive formation in the distance. Some of them were even trying to go around the Wanchuan market and kill their way into Qingli County. At this moment, a long sword suddenly flew out from the Wanchuan market. A cold light flashed past, and a Hui dragon's corpse was instantly separated. The sword puppet flew out and wantonly killed the rank 4 demon beasts that dared to come ashore. More than 10 rank 4 demon beasts were quickly killed and injured. They didn't even have a chance to escape. It still didn't give up. With the long sword in hand, it charged into the Wanchuan River. No matter how reckless the rank 4 demon beasts were, they weren't fools. In front of the rank 5 puppet, they didn't even have a chance to resist. In order to save their lives, they all dived into the river. The sword puppet killed a few more rank 4 demon beasts and attacked randomly on the river surface. When it didn't have much spiritual power left, it turned and headed toward the Wanchuan market. At this moment, a waterspout suddenly surged out of the water and swept toward the sword puppet. As a battle-type puppet, the sword puppet knew some escape techniques. It turned into a sword shadow and escaped to the shore at an extremely fast speed. At this time, the spiritual power in its body was almost exhausted and it could only fall to the ground. A large eagle with a long horn on its head flew out of the river and chased after the sword puppet. It was the Chongdiao. Wang Daoyuan sneered in his heart. It's not easy to escape from the Jingchuan River. If you directly went into the sea, no one would be able to find you. But you don't know what's good for you and came to find trouble with me. When the Chongdiao left the river surface, Wang Daoyuan used his divine ability. Countless water spiritual energy instantly condensed into a water-blue prison. The Chongdiao attacked the prison with all its might, wanting to escape. Unfortunately, its fighting ability was not very good and was completely unable to shake the black tortoise purgatory. Gui water hell flame was released and the water-blue prison was ignited in an instant, turning into a flame prison. The prison kept shrinking and soon the Chongdiao was unable to move. Wang Daoyuan didn't intend to keep this thing. The Chongdiao was originally not a strange beast that was particularly good at fighting. Other than being a little strange, it had no special value. The reason why he kept the black ice tortoise and the gray rock was because the black ice tortoise could be used as a meat shield and the gray rock was fast. Doppelgangers were limited. Demonic beasts without special value were useless. After Wang Daoyuan killed the Chongdiao, he kept it in the space of the spiritual pearl. He also picked up the exhausted sword puppet and returned to Wanchuan market. The others were a little worried that the sword puppet's spiritual power was exhausted. Wang Daoyuan suddenly appeared and took care of the Chongdiao. Everyone was relieved and led him into the guardian residence. Wang Shi smiled. I was wondering why the sword puppet suddenly went crazy and rushed out to kill demonic beasts. So you're back. I've been on tenterhooks all this time. Now I can finally rest assured. There are now 6 nascent soul cultivators in the West Sea. I don't need to look after them for the time being. I'll continue to stay in Yin country. By the way, did anything happen in Tianjin mountain range in Shanbei? Wang Daojian replied, everything is normal in Shanbei. The demonic beasts have retreated to the vicinity of the Arctic ice field. There are also surrendered half-demonic beasts guarding the north. Naturally, there's no problem. Tianjin mountain range has always been guarded by 5th great uncle. He even placed the puppet there. The demonic beasts don't even have the guts to approach our Wang family's property, let alone attack. Wang Daoyuan nodded, that's good. I'm not surprised that the 12th uncle comprehended a minor divine ability. But you were able to comprehend the Guiyuan sword intent in such a short time, which is beyond my expectations. Cultivate well and you'll be a pillar of the family in the future. It's enough to have Jia Qi and the sword puppet here. You guys spend your time on cultivation. In the future, the family will rely on you guys to support it. The 12th uncle and Wang Daojian took their leave. One returned to Yuchuan Peak and the other returned to Shanbei. After Wang Daoyuan gave the sword puppet 3 spirit-gathering pearls, he rode the gray rock and followed the Wanchuan River to Linhai Prefecture. There were demonic beasts gathering in the sea. There might be rank 5 demonic beasts causing trouble. If he didn't deter them, they might continue to cause trouble. Chapter 823. With a cry of the gray rock, all the demonic beasts within a radius of thousands of miles fled. It only took a quarter of an hour to pass through the thousands of miles of Wanchuan River Valley. After arriving at Linhai Province, Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Gu Qingfeng, asking about the demonic beasts in the sea. Gu Qingfeng was on a small island outside the river mouth at this time. Wang Daoyuan directly commanded the gray rock to fly over. Before reaching the island, Gu Qingfeng came up to greet him. The gray rock looked around, but did not find any trace of a large group of demonic beasts. Wang Daoyuan asked, how are the demonic beasts gathering in the sea now? Gu Qingfeng looked at the huge rock with a wingspan of nearly 100 feet, and felt some fear in his heart. Trembling with fear, he replied, replying to Senior, the demonic beasts were gathering at the edge of the deep sea more than 3,000 miles east of the river mouth. Just a quarter of an hour ago, these demonic beasts began to disperse. I don't know what happened, so I observed nearby. Near the Wanchuan River mouth, more than 3,000 miles away from the river mouth, the seabed suddenly dropped, and the depth of the sea rose from about 10,000 feet to 40 to 50,000 feet. If the demonic beasts entered the deep sea, Wang Daoyuan did not dare to rashly enter the sea to investigate. Last time, the 5th grade old tortoise dared to appear in the shallow sea, and was directly killed by him. This time, the demonic beasts learned their lesson and hid at the edge of the deep sea. Once attacked, they could quickly escape into the deep sea. Not long after the Chongdiao was killed at Wanchuan Market, the demonic beast here fled. It seemed that the demonic beasts at Wanchuan River had some connection with the demonic beasts here. Where did these demonic beasts flee to? Gu Qingfeng replied, all the demonic beasts fled along the edge of the deep sea towards the north. My strength is low and I did not dare to provoke them, so I just watched from afar. Wang Daoyuan's heart sank. It seemed that there was trouble in the sea again. If this group of demonic beasts obeyed the Chongdiao, then when the Chongdiao died, the monkeys would scatter. Fourth-grade demonic beasts usually fought with each other very fiercely. If there was no fifth-grade demonic beast suppressing them, even if there was no serious internal strife, they would definitely scatter and flee. Now that the demonic beasts were heading north, there was definitely another fifth-grade demonic beast behind them. Wang Daoyuan thought for a moment and said, you go back first. I'll go explore the sea. After saying that, he headed northwest. The gray rock's speed was far superior to other demonic beasts of the same rank. It was impossible for rank 4 demonic beasts in the sea to escape from the gray rock. A quarter of an hour later, Wang Daoyuan found traces of the demonic beasts. As soon as he discovered the group of demonic beasts, they immediately changed their direction and fled towards the deep sea in the east. Wang Daoyuan was still 2,000 miles away from them, so he couldn't attack them. Looking towards the north, there was a boundless fog that covered the sky and covered the sun. That was the Mirage Fog Sea. The demonic beasts were heading north, most likely to escape into the Mirage Fog Sea. After all, Wang Daoyuan had traveled to the sea before. Only the Mirage Sea near Beiyuan was a little strange. The person who controlled these rank 4 demonic beasts was most likely from the Mirage Fog Sea. When he killed Long Yuntian at the Zijin River branch, he speculated that the nest of the Valley of Beasts was hidden in the Mirage Fog Sea. Then these rank 5 demonic beasts were most likely the descendants of the spirit beasts raised in the Valley of Beasts. The spirit beasts raised in the Valley of Beasts were all strange and strange. There was no lack of divine beast. If a rank 5 demonic beast appeared among the descendants of this group, their strength couldn't be underestimated. He still didn't know what dangers were hidden in the Mirage Fog Sea. Now that there were traces of rank 5 demonic beasts in many places, he didn't dare to explore the Mirage Fog Sea rashly. He was just in time for the spirit chi to recover and the demonic beasts to awaken. If he was trapped inside and new demonic beasts were to appear, his family would be in danger. The demonic beasts fled into the deep sea, and there was no point in continuing to chase them. He gave up and returned to Linhai State. After informing Gu Qingfeng, he left Linhai State. Wang Mingchen brought many officials of the Yan State to welcome him in Qingli City. After all, he left this time to go to the West Sea to resist the demon race. He killed 8 rank 5 demonic beasts and even captured one alive. This was also a victorious return. Wang Daoyuan also landed outside the south gate of Qingli City. Wang Mingchen had already brought the officials to welcome him outside the city gate. The moment he landed, everyone bowed and said, "Welcome back, retired emperor." Following that, there were even musicians playing music and imperial chariots accompanying. This set of things had the flavor of the Zhou state. It was most likely from the Zhou state. However, this system was also not bad. Since he established a country and declared himself an emperor, his status was also recognized by the 4 top factions. Some rules still had to be established. Wang Daoyuan entered the palace city under everyone's escort and came to the Imperial Extreme Hall in the center of the palace city to receive the officials' congratulations. After a long time, the officials dispersed. Wang Daoyuan followed Wang Mingchen to take a look at the spirit vein of Qingli City. Before heading to the West Sea, this place was already a rank 3 high-grade spirit vein. Now that a few months had passed, the spirit chi concentration had increased further. It wasn't far from rank 4 low grade. After checking around here, they left Qingli City and returned to Jade Spring Peak. After returning to the underground cave abode, Zhou Luan did not have much joy. Instead, her face was full of worry. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly asked, "Lord Hall Master, what's wrong?" News came from Blood Shadow's headquarters. "There's a rank 5 demonic beast appearing near the headquarters. They're asking me for help right now." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was amused. "Isn't this a good thing? We've always wanted to subdue Blood Shadow, but we didn't have the time and didn't have a good opportunity either. Now that Blood Shadow's side is asking for help, our side can take advantage of their difficulties. I'll give a call to Master again and let them ignore Blood Shadow's request for help. When Blood Shadow is at the end of the road, whatever price we offer, they'll agree." Zhou Wan glanced at him. My father also had a few good friends in Blood Shadow back then. Among them there's one called Zhang Yu who's now peak golden core cultivation. In Blood Shadow his status isn't low either. Before, I was able to become the Hall Master of a rank 1 branch and can freely appoint a rank 2 branch Hall Master. Uncle Zhang also contributed a lot. Although he's quite talented, he was promoted from the middle ranks after all. He doesn't have much foundation in Blood Shadow's upper ranks. Now, Elder Su and the other Blood Shadow's upper ranks are pressuring him, forcing him to ask for help from us. Do we just sit back and watch? Elder Su and the others might do something to Zhang Yu. Wang Daoyuan was somewhat curious and asked, "What? Elder Su isn't dead yet?" Long before he went to the Sea of Seven Stars, he heard that Elder Su didn't have long to live. Several decades had passed but this old guy was still alive. His old life doesn't have many years left, but his ambition isn't small. He still wants to hold on until rank 5 spiritual energy appears. Then he'll try again and see if he can break through to Yuanying. Wang Daoyuan sneered. This old thing really thinks a lot. After tricking my father-in-law to death, he still wants to break through to Yuanying. If it weren't for the rampant demon beasts and my hands being tied, I would have killed this old guy long ago. If he was smart, he would have killed himself as soon as he knew about our relationship and hid the talented disciples of the Su family. At the very least he would have left some descendants. Now he dares to turn around and disgust us. Does he think his neck is harder than my sword? After saying that, he took out the Shanbei Branch Vice Hall Master token and sent a letter to Elder Su. The content was very simple. You killed my father-in-law and now you dare to threaten my wife. Is the Su family ready to be exiled to the West Sea? With Blood Shadow's intelligence network, the situation in the West Sea naturally couldn't be hidden from them. The spiritual energy in the coastal waters was somewhat violent. Ordinary people and low-level cultivators couldn't survive at all. In addition, there were a large number of rank 4 demon beasts and some rank 5 demon beasts. The Su family didn't even have any Yuanying cultivators. There was absolutely no hope of passing down the family. He showed the content of the letter to Zhou Wan. Zhou Wan said, "This letter of yours is probably going to scare Elder Su to death. Even if he still has a breath left, he'll run over and beg for mercy." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.